We got our own clika, strong clika. Clika, clika, clika. That's all we got is clika, clika, clika. Can you respect?
Welcome to La Clika podcast. Today we have Darkside 90042 with us. What's up?
What's happening, gentlemen? Thank you for having me out. It's a beautiful thing. Feels good to be here.
Really good, man. Hey, out of everybody I've actually met, well, I've met a lot of rappers. You know, we've met many rappers, MCs, producers, all that. You're the first person that actually has put your zip code on your name, man.
Yeah, there's a reason.
That's pretty badass, man. Explain that, man. What do you mean?
So first of all, you know, I'm from Highland Park, born and raised. I'm the king of Highland Park. There's not an MC in the 90042 that can get with me. There might be some up and comers, and if you think you might be one of them, then holler at me. We can figure it out. But you know, I hold down the crown. You know, from Highland Park, and you know, I'm the first cat that I knew of that was out there repping Highland Park in the Northeast
Nice,
LA.
man.
You know, we went everywhere and we're hollering that out. And now you got people that are from there that they don't really be hollering it out, but you know, they'll admit to being from the area in interviews and things like that. So, you know, shout out to all my Northeast people, all my Highland Park people. So 90042 is the zip code for Highland Park. I'm the king of Highland Park. And but if you Google Darkside alone, all kinds of stupid stuff comes up.
So
some good, some stupid.
That was pretty cool that you did that, though. That separates you from.
Yeah, so I had a
people.
former student of mine who, you know, when I was doing my GoFundMe, she hit me up and she says, you know, I could donate $100 to you, but I could probably give you more in services as far as like social media and web design and things like that than I could ever, you know, in cash. So I was like, cool, let's do it. So she did, basically I gave her all my social media accounts and she did a social media audit and came up that I had Darkside 412 and Darkside.eatiscrad and then Darkside 90042 and then just Darkside, you know, spelled differently. And she was like, you need to align all of your social medias and have them all the same thing. So when they Google you, you'll come up. So I was like, all right, cool, yeah. And then I thought about it and I Googled Darkside and like all kinds of stuff came up that wasn't me. And even like in the like 20th, 30th page, I was like, wow, you know, I'm buried. So that's when I added the 90042. And so now if you Google Darkside 90042, I come up. Like that's it. I come up like the first yourself. 20 things. Yeah, so it's a branding thing. It's a good thing. And it's something that I didn't think about. Like I'm not a really good businessman, a business person. I'm just like, I'm a rapper. I'm an artist. You know, I don't really know how to market myself and how to make money off of this. And I never really had all my homies that were making money when I was coming up. They were selling dope. They didn't want to like downgrade to like managing some artist that may or may not blow up. They had a sure thing going on the corner. So
They're drug dealer 90042.
There's no doubt. There's a handful of them, you know. But so I learned real quickly though early on that there is no retirement plan for drug dealers and gang members. It's the Cemetery or Pelican Bay, and none of those places are places I want to be too soon. So
you want Leisure World?
Yeah. So you know,
401k.
I avoided that and just did my thing, and just, you know, I would rap, and you know, that's just what I did. I'd rap to get away from my problems, and I was creative to get away from my problems. It helped, and it helps to this day. People say like, man, you're 41 years old and you know, you're not making money off of your music. You should just stop. And I'm like, you know, that's my therapy. I'm saving money because I don't got to pay some therapist to, you know, tell me I got problems. I just write songs about them, or sometimes not even about my problems. Sometimes I just write a song, and that's, you know, that's enough to make me feel better. So
how often do you write, man?
So at this point, I kind of write as often as there's something to write. So my pen game is at its peak. You know, I go into a studio. I could go into a studio, hear a beat, and then put something down within one studio session. You know, a matter of hours at the most. The last time I paid for studio time because I needed to do a song, I was like, well, you know, it's the homie. So I blocked out 3 hours. I ended up only using 2, and I did like 5 verses in that 2-hour span. Shout out to the homies at Project Mayhem. Shout out to the homie Seth. Mixmaster Seth was on the 1s and 2s for me, managing the recording. Did a great job, man. They always do a great job there. So if you need some recording services, it's a cool place to go. Project Mayhem in Huntington Park. Check them out.
So
HP.
So check it out, man. Like, so you got your paper in front of you. You got your pencil, pen, whatever you write with. As you're writing, are you already thinking about the melody as you're doing it, or is it something that when you write it, they bring you the song, you're like, it's gonna fit to this?
What comes first?
So all of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I could do it anyway. So the way it usually works, in nowadays is somebody will send me a track what they want me to get on, and I'll put it together. It might come with something that they've already laid down, which is the easiest, right? Because then I just vibe off of what they're doing, and lay my stuff down, and then send it back, send the stems. Or else, if they want me to do it, at their studio, then we make an appointment. I go in and I drop. But I have good studio etiquette, so before I go to the studio, I've written, I've practiced it, I've done it in different styles, so that way I know I'm not going to waste anybody's time. Because first of all, my time is valuable to me the most, right? I would rather sit there and veg out to some Netflix or some crazy documentaries on YouTube than hang out with a bunch of grown men bullshitting. Like, I got children, right? I'd rather be spending time with my kids. Unfortunately, I don't live with my children anymore, so on the weekends when I'm with my kids, I don't do stuff like this. I don't do shows. I don't do anything that doesn't have to do with them. So I might go do like a community event where it's a kid-friendly environment and whatnot, but
That's cool.
Very few and far between. I've kind of like stopped performing, kind of. Like, I mean, if people ask me out, then I'll come out, but I'm not like actively looking for shows and trying to book tours or anything like that. So.
Do you? I've noticed a lot of people, like, as far as rappers, there's times when they have a concept in mind and they have a beat. Has a producer ever come up to you? Is like, yo, man, I got a concept for you. Try it out.
Yeah, that happens too. That's another way that it goes. That's called synergy, right? It's when everybody gets in the studio and vibes out, and then something comes out. And sometimes I'm walking into something, and sometimes it's already set up, And well, I mean, that's what it would walking into it would mean. But so sometimes I walk into it, it's already there, and they just tell me, okay, look, man, this is what we got. Here's the concept. Go with it. Or sometimes we sit there and just vibe out and just spitball ideas until something sticks. Whoever has the end creative control. So in this case, it would be the producer. But yeah, sometimes I walked in and the producer said, hey, look, this is what I'm looking for. And I've had a situation where I walked into a studio and it was Yuck Mouth from the Loonies and his little crew, the Regime.
Oh wow.
I used to work in the studio, so I used to meet all these fools. So they invited me in one day when I was off work, and we're like, yo. I had freestyled with them and stuff, so they were like, yo, we want to sign you, And they're like, we got this great image for you. Like, you're going to be just this, like, rich white boy rapper. And I was like, nah, I just couldn't do it.
Already trying to mold you. Huh?
Yeah, they had this thing that they had already set up, and it wasn't like a bad idea or anything, but at the time I was really principled, and I was like, I'm not going to compromise my artistic integrity, and I'm from the streets, I'm from the hood, I'm actually only half white, so what the hell? So yeah, kind of like just, I kind of told them like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, let's see how it goes, and it just, whatever they were presenting to me just wasn't.
What kind of music was it? Like what kind of flavor? No, like what kind of flavor was it? More just like kind of like grimy. Or?
Yeah, it was like it was kind of like what I wanted to kind of call it, like poser rap in a sense. You know what I mean? It was they wanted me to rap about like being a rich white boy that like also had that little like street side.
Wow.
And I was like, that's not me. Like, I mean, I come close because everybody thinks I'm white and I am from the streets, so I do have that griminess, but. Yeah, and like I said, I was really, at the time I was really principled in being an artist, and I just didn't want to compromise my integrity, and that's what I felt they were asking me to do. If I could go back and tell 26, 27-year-old me, I might say like, fuck it, do it, bro, fuck it, see how it goes, see where it goes. But at the time I was really principled. Not to say I'm any less principled now, but now I see things from a different perspective that I didn't when I was that young, and just kind of like. I'm an artist, so.
That's all based off of adult decisions.
Yeah, exactly. I got mouths to feed, and, and I got, I got a great career, so I'm lucky in that sense. I teach for a living, so I love doing that. I wake up every morning, I'm happy to go to work, most mornings anyways. And at the end of the day, I feel like I did something. You know, I want to change the world. I've always been a revolutionary, so that's my way of changing the world, is one young mind at a time. And
Fucking awesome.
so I'm lucky in that. Not everybody has that, you know. But I also have music, and that is what keeps me grounded. You know what I mean? It's what keeps me from snapping on kids and from snapping on my own kids and from snapping on the fool that cut me off in the street. You know, there are some people that are still standing and breathing today because I wrote songs instead of did the stupid thing. So
Throw a CD at him.
you know, right?
So let me ask you a question. Now, you said something about 27-year-old you and versus you now. How is your art, how is your writing has changed from then into now?
So I would say that I'm a little more open-minded now, in a sense, as far as musically, lyrically. You know, I'm 41 years old, and I've been rapping since like 5th grade. I started rapping to impress the coolest 6th grader, because like that fool was cool as fuck, and everybody liked him, right? And you know why he was the coolest 6th grader? Because he knew all the bad words and used them.
Whoa.
He didn't care.
Whoa.
So,
Honesty.
so you know, I was like writing little poems for girls, and off the top of my head, and they were loving it. And then so John Folse, if you're listening, if you're out there, you're on my IG. He was like, "Yo, do a rap song about my brother." So his brother was like the football hero of the town, you know. So, and I knew like that was his hero. And so I had heard him tell a couple stories. So I just did a little like 4-line rap about his brother, and he was like, "That was cool, bro." So now I was the coolest 5th grader. And so, you know, I wore the crown and then went into 6th grade as the coolest 6th grader, because he taught me all the bad words. I actually got in trouble for using one of the bad words with one of my friends when we had an argument, and his mama was hearing from the kitchen. Yeah,
What
it was
did
all
you
bad.
say?
It was all bad, yeah.
See a piece of soap.
Yeah.
Wash your mouth.
No, see, that was if it was at my house. This was my rich white friend. So they were like, they sent the maid to come and tell me something. But, so yeah, you know, I started rapping then. I've been rapping for a hell of a long time. And, you know, there have been progressions over the time. But I think that within the last, like, I would say 5 to 7 years have been my most progression. Simply because my homeboy DJ Seedless, shout out to my homeboy DJ Seedless, Hardw3rk crew. Hardw3rk Microphone Collective. I'll tell you more about that in a second.
I was gonna ask you about that.
We were sitting down one day talking about making more music, because we had made a lot of music in this one particular summer. It was about 2-3 summers ago. And you know, he was like, "Yo, Darkside, like, you're super dope. Like, I really dig your style, and you're killing the game. Every time you come in, you just write, and you know, it's dope." He goes, "If there's one criticism I could give you, though," and I was like, "Sure, of course, you're my brother, whatever." He was like, "You need to push your envelope now. You need to push your boundaries a little bit. You need to try something new. You're stuck in the same pattern." He goes, "It's a dope pattern. I really like it. The listeners enjoy it. But, you know, artist to artist, you need to progress a little bit. You need to do something different." So I took that to heart. Like, that's my homie. That's my brother, like he said. So he could talk to me like that, and it's not no competition. It's not no ego. I'm like, cool, yeah, this dude's being real. So I answered in a real way, which was I started choosing different styles of beats. I started using different rhyme patterns. So I got a pack of beats from a homie of mine that I went to college with. His name's Antonio De La Pena. I call him A Della because he's a big J Dilla fan.
Nice.
So I call him A Della. So he gave me a pack of beats, and one of them had this beat that was you know, it was kind of different. I usually wouldn't rap to it. And that beat spoke to me. And so I did a verse for a song, and I called it Smashing Time, right? And I did the verse real sing-songy. It's real like commercial. It's the most commercial song I've ever really done, you know, recently. And so I sent it out to some of my homies, some of my young homies, right? To show them, like, look, because they always wondered, like, yeah, we know you could do that 90s style, but can you do the new style? And I didn't know. I was like, nah, I really don't want to. Like, why do I want to do something like that? Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, one day I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try it. And so I did, and I sent it out, and everybody was geeked. So much so that one of my former students that just graduated last year, I used to record them. I got some recording equipment from my principal bought me some. And so I record these kids in my classroom, you know, after school. We just record. I didn't have nobody to do that for me when I was coming up. So that's why I'm trying to be that dude.
Damn.
So so I sent it to Little K. Shout out to Little K. And, you know, I thought he's going to drop a verse on it. There's space for 4 verses. I got one of them in a chorus. So, you know, I got some other kids working on verses too. This cat sends me back the track it's his song basically with just me. It's like I featured on it. He did a opening chorus, and then he did another and a verse, and he did a whole song around my verse and little chorus.
Took it over.
And I was like, wow, man, you really like this track. And he was like, yeah, it's cool. So he was like, yo, like, my bad. I was like, nah, it's all good. He's like, can I release it? I'm about to release an EP like in the next week or so. Can I release it on my EP? And I was like, sure. We'll put it out and we'll call it Smashing Time Remix. And then I'll put out my version. And then I hit up my homeboy, Too High. Shout outs to Too High, a lot of noise. And I was like, yo, put a verse on this and, you know, maybe get a couple of your homies from the label to do some verses. Some of the cats that I know, like his homie Flo and Dr. KC. I was like, get him on it. And he's like, yeah, sure, we'll do that. So, you know, it's been a little minute, but I hit him up and I was like, look, man, can I get that verse? It's about time to bring it in. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. He's like, and, you know, I got to wait until the end of the week to get Dr. KC and Flo on it. He's like, but we'll get it done. Don't worry. And so that's going to be a whole other remix. That's going to be the Lot of Noise remix because now it's that whole crew. And then I got this kid that I'm working with now. He's a current student. He's like a junior in my school. And, you know, he has this whole new boy style. He raps about stuff that's just, you know, it's what they're rapping about now. You know what I mean? The whole style, the sing-songiness and all that. Yeah, you know, he's pretty good for what he does. And you know, like I said, I don't judge these kids. I don't tell them what to rap or how to rap or anything like that. I don't censor them. I just let them record. I give them a safe place to come and record.
You
just
let them curse.
Judgment free. So, you know, technically I'm not supposed to, but I'm not going to say it does happen, but I'm not going to say it doesn't happen either. So, you know, I just don't put any restrictions on their artistic creativity. And so he has a verse that he did that's pretty good. So I'm going to take that verse and then the verse that Little K dropped around the song that he created around the song. Wow. And that'll be 3 verses. And I'm thinking of writing a singing part for another former student of mine who's a singer/model, Becky Luna. You should check her out too. And, you know, see if she can sing the opening part, like from a female perspective. And then it gets into the male nitty-gritty. You know, smashing time.
That's crazy, dude. That's
what it sounds like.
That's just it's unbelievable to hear, like, to trip out that in high school you're doing this for students, dude. Imagine like if we had a teacher like this back then. Imagine that actually let us record.
Shout out to Mr. Travis.
I mean, they were teaching us, but this, you know, you're actually recording them, putting them out, which is unheard of.
Well, they're putting themselves out. I'm just recording it.
Exactly.
I'm just making.
You know
I'm just taking crazy, the raw materials and putting something together. And I mean, I don't mix or master their stuff. I just give them the 2-track recording after we're done. I do like a little basic mix on it. It's using Ableton, and I'm not an Ableton guy. I'm a Pro Tools guy. Shout out to Pro Tools. Shout out to Avid if you want to sponsor.
Shout out to Ableton.
Shout out, yeah.
I'm an
Shout
NPC. I'm an NPC guy.
And Adobe Edition.
There you go. So yeah, so you know that's. I mean, so when people ask me like, "Yo, why aren't you on? Why didn't you ever get on?" and I'm like, it's 2 reasons. One major reason is that you know, we didn't have the resources. I came up in the time when the scene was just developing in LA, and so I mean, we were the first time I ever like tried to rap on a track. What we did was we took the boombox and we put it next to the speaker by the stereo.
Oh yeah. And
then on the stereo we put a maxi single that had an instrumental that we paid like $6. We might not even have liked the song, but we liked the beat. As a matter of fact, I know I liked the song because it was Paid Dues by Low Profile.
Yeah.
So we got that from the swap meet. I got my daddy to buy it for me.
What swap meet, man?
It had to be like La Mirada or...
Oh, shit.
We used to go to Santa Fe Springs swap meet all the time. La Mirada swap meet.
I'm down the street from
My
there.
dad was a swap meet fiend, so I went to so many swap meets I couldn't even tell you where they were or what the name of it was.
Hell yeah.
Like we've been to the Rhodium. That
Hell
they just did
yeah.
a film about the Rhodium. The DJ that did the tapes there.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, so they're definitely so you know, I used to go and I used to cop them tapes. So but yeah, the one I know for sure that we used to go to a lot was the Santa Fe Springs. We used to always go to that when it was called the La Mirada swap meet back then.
Yeah.
So.
Shit, I live there.
Oh, and another one was the Alpine Village.
Oh, wow.
Out in Carson,
Wow.
and the Harbor.
Oh yeah, that's what they have Oktoberfest now.
Shout out to Oktoberfest.
Yeah, shout out. Want to sponsor? Send us tickets.
Shout out to gout.
Yeah.
That's where I got my first case of gout, dude.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, so I mean, you know, that's I forgot where I was going with that. There was a train of thought.
You started recording from those tapes.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we took the tape, and we put it in the stereo, so it was playing out the speakers, and then the little boombox had a little microphone on it, so we hit record, and then we get our mouths close to the microphone between the speaker and the microphone, and we rap, and we did our verses into the speaker.
You're taking me back, man.
Yeah, I mean, we used to make pause button mixes. Like, I used to take my tapes and like take little snippets,
Dude.
and then you just hit.
I got
you
tapes.
hit unpause, and then hit pause again, and then
Believe
you
it
put
or
the
not.
next tape in and pause, unpause, and I made this whole like it
Yes.
said something from
Pause
start
tapes.
to end. Yeah, that.
Dude.
It was just a whole collection where I threw together all of these snippets that actually said something different than what all those snippets said individually.
Yeah.
So that's how we used to record. And then as I got a little older, and I got with homies that knew people with equipment. Nobody that I knew had equipment, but they knew people with equipment. It was usually a white kid, usually Jewish too. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that's how it usually was.
The rich kid.
9 times out of 10, the cats
Shout
that
out
had
to
the
Bobby
dough.
Rosenberg.
So definitely that was the only exposure I had to like studio quality equipment was when I was with the homies that had those connections. My homie Savant, shout out to the homie Savant, Fight Academy. He went on to be a MMA professional. If you look up Black Superman Punch, that's him. That's my homie Savant. He actually led the league in rushing yards when we played football together in high school and whatnot. But he was a rapper at the time, and he came up with a group called Miscellaneous Minds, which was Scarab and Eli and him.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Scarab and Eli
remember that.
ended up, things fell apart and kind of everybody went their separate ways. And then like Scarab, Eli, and Merce, and then they met up again in the Bay Area and became part of the Living Legends crew. And
Living Legend, shout out
the rest
to
is
them.
history. And while these guys were doing all that, I was getting stuck on P-Dogs. So,
Holy shit.
so that's the second reason.
Oh
right?
wow.
I lived in the hood, and this was accessible. We were slanging it. We started doing it. Next thing you know, I'm stuck. And
Shout out to Designer Drugs.
Dude, you didn't
No, that
follow
was a
the
ghetto
rule.
drug.
You didn't follow the rule,
That was
man.
some ghetto
You
shit,
gotta
man.
have your own supply.
Well, it wasn't my supply, so technically I didn't. They just gave it to me, and I gave it out, and so I smoked a little bit, and because I wasn't really making profit. But point being is that to me it was more interesting to sit and I would rap to the homies while we're sitting there smoking P-Dogs. And as you know, when you're sitting there smoking P-Dogs, you're not really doing nothing. So these people were like going out and making tapes. They traveled the world like 3 times before they were 21.
Oh yeah.
And I was sitting in somebody's garage smoking P-Dogs. So I feel stupid about that. But,
made it to La Mirada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You live and you learn, and it's part of your journey.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
I
So-
really think it's cool that you're paying it forward and recording your students. That's pretty awesome.
That's really awesome. Man.
Yeah,
I'm
and-
blown away by that right now.
Yeah.
He's telling you about that. It's fucking
Especially
crazy.
for us being from HP and hearing that stuff happen.
Right.
Because we grew up in HP, we didn't have that.
Yeah, like I said, it's just my way of giving back. Like you said, paying it forward. It's I was given the opportunity. I was like, look, these kids are interested in this. Let's put it together. And luckily, I have a great boss who, he pulls for the kids. He pulls for his faculty. Shout out to John Cherakatirtana. All right, Mr. C. I fucked up your name probably, but shout out to Mr. C. And so he's the principal, and so yeah, he basically told me how much you need. Said I need a couple $1,000s, and he was like, sure. He's like, just give me receipts. So I bought the stuff, and he reimbursed me for it, and so the rest is history. Now I got recording equipment in my classroom,
Nice.
and I'm the sponsor of the rap club, and the school is the Huntington Park Institute of Applied Medicine, so it's like a medicine-based school, like that's where the curriculum is. But we do have a band, and we have music that we teach there, and so we got kids that are interested in rap. So I was like, sure, let's do this, and so I represent or I sponsor the rap club. So we meet every Thursday, and it's just a way of me getting these kids to do something constructive and productive with their time and with their talent.
Now, what subject do you teach?
So I'm an English teacher by trade. I teach an English elective right now, and I also teach a course for long-term English language learners. So I'm the long-term English language learner expert on my floor, and the only reason why I'm the expert is because I'm the only one trained in that class and how to teach it. Definitely that's the classes that I teach. So I'm basically helping students that have taken a longer time than they usually do to transition from being an English language learner to proficient in English. So
I never got that proficient.
Well, and so there's a lot of different reasons why, right? So I have a large population of special ed students and behavior issues, and then there's some students that have just had trouble transitioning. So, they still speak Spanish more than they do English by choice, almost, I would say. Like, they're not necessarily like making a full-on effort to transition. They're just taking their time. And so, since there's no real consequence for them not transitioning, not to say that there should be, I'm not saying that, but because there isn't, there is a population that just kind of says, oh, well, I'm still going to graduate. So what does it matter if I do what you want me to do? Shout out to the homies Key to the City. I'm always wearing their stuff.
It's a cool hat. I was
I was about to say that. It's pretty bad. Let me see it again. Let me see that. It's pretty cool. Let me. It's a perfect concept right there, man.
Being from Huntington Park, I mean, it's a predominantly Spanish-speaking area, so
Right.
I understand why those kids are reluctant to continue on their English curriculum.
Yeah, definitely. I understand too. It's there's a plethora of reasons. There's a whole plethora of reasons, and so if you ask me like what makes me so successful, and I only say I'm successful because the numbers prove it, right? It's not like I'm like super teacher and I'm the best. But if you look at my data, there's a modicum of success there. And the reason is, if you ask me why, I say it's because I treat them like human beings.
Yeah.
Every person that walks through my door gets treated like a human being first and foremost. And I follow the golden rule. I treat them like I want to be treated. If I want respect from them, I have to show them respect too.
See, I was gonna say, because I failed English twice from the same teacher because she looked down her nose at us.
Yeah.
She looked down at us. I mean, other people like
That's
her.
what I call the off the hill syndrome.
Yeah,
I feel like they're coming off the hill to do a favor
like
to the
that.
kids.
She was one of the
hood.
ones where like I made out of the ghetto and this and that. That's
Oh,
how
yeah,
she
so
saw
even
it.
worse.
She had
So-
that attitude.
So she was from the hood, but then
Yep.
she got on the hill.
Yep.
And then so now she's like, I'm coming back to do y'all a favor.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Instead of giving back
And
to the
she's the
community
only
that
one I
made
failed.
her. Yeah.
I just asked her one question, like, what does Greek mythology have to do with English? I didn't get it back then, and she just
Well,
fucking.
maybe I can explain to you,
I'm the
brother.
teacher.
It's-
I'm the teacher.
It's the core.
Yeah,
That's where literature
and
pretty
that's-
much begins.
and that's
is-
all I was looking for.
Yeah.
Not just sit through the
See, I
class
would have
and you'll
given you a
learn.
whole lesson,
Yeah.
and like I would have given you a project to do.
Yep.
I would have been like, okay, why don't you do this project? And you would have done this project outside of a cup. I would have let you miss some stuff in the
Yeah.
regular curriculum and not have to do it. The important stuff I would have still made you do.
Yeah.
But I would have given you this little side projects to do, and at the end you would have like learned something, and you would have been happy about it.
Yeah, that's all. I was looking for that answer,
Yeah.
and I was given the attitude.
And so again, like that's my key. I just treat people like people. That's I'm a human being, and that's all I am. I'm limited by that. It's also a wonderful thing to be human, to be alive in this time. It's interesting. Although there's a Chinese proverb that says, may you live in interesting times, which doesn't necessarily mean it's not a good thing. It's more of a curse than a blessing. But I think that these times are quite interesting. I always told myself when I was growing up, man, that I wasn't going to have kids because this world is so messed up. But then love does something stupid, and you're like, and I'll put you this way.
Fall in that hole.
I knew I was lying then. I'll tell you, I knew I was lying then because I had already been in love, and with this person that is ended up becoming the mother of my children. We've been together since we were in 7th grade. Not together anymore. We have an up and down relationship. We might be together in the near future. Probably not. I'm hoping that I'm old enough to realize that that this whole cycle is part of my childhood trauma that I've been reliving over and over and again through this relationship. But who knows? I'm stupid too.
Write a new love song to her.
Call
it P Dog.
I was.
I actually did. So this cat from Finland, PvP, and I'll tell you a story about that in a second. As a matter of fact, let me just start the story now. So I'm from a crew called the Hardw3rk Microphone Collective, and we spell it Hardw3rk. Yeah. So we used to spell it with an E, but then some cat came out and he calls himself Hardw3rk with the E, so we just put a 3 on it and spin it around.
Pretty cool. I liked it.
So it's Hardw3rk, Hardw3rk, Hardw3rk Microphone Collective. We're like from all over the place. We got a homie from Japan, the homie Maru. He's a producer. He was just in town, and I missed him because I had my kids, and so I was like, yo, they're not doing family friendly stuff in the studio. It's too much blunts being smoked, so can't take the kids.
Take them to your classes. Then.
Although I found out after the fact that they went to a spot called Juice. Shout out to Juice.
Oh shit!
If you have time on Saturdays from 12 to 4 in MacArthur Park, Juice is a great place to go. You could go and get on the turntables. You could do some graffiti. You could break dance, or you could go to the MC producer workshops. Something to do for hip hop, and it's in MacArthur Park, so it's central. It's accessible through transit and whatnot, and then it's the park. So if you got kids, y'all can run around. You can run them through the park later on.
Pick up a fake ID while you're there.
Yeah, get your weed in what do you call it, aluminum foil.
Yep.
It's all good.
In your primos.
Yeah. So anyways, I didn't get to hang out with Maru, but hopefully the next time he's around, I will. But my homeboy DJ Seedless, I mentioned him. My homeboy D Rugs, who's out in Boston. He's back on in Massachusetts somewhere. I think it's Boston or close to Boston. He went back home to get back on his feet. My homeboy Omnivorous or Omnivirus, depending on who you are. I like to call him Omnivirus. I think that sounds dope, but Omnivorous is just as dope. He's a producer and a rapper. He's pretty fresh. Then there's the homie Alpaca. He's from out in Florida, I believe. Yeah. And he's a producer, and he's been dabbling in rapping. And then there's the homie Tensor, who's missing in action. Actually, for me, I haven't been able to contact him for a while, and we ain't been in the loop with each other for a minute. But he makes some really dope beats. And then there's the homie Rolo, which goes by Yotun, YO-TUNN, I believe. But I know him as Rolo. He started with the crew as Rolo. So he hit me up and was like, he's like, well, actually, he posted a song on our group chat, and he was like, yo, there's space for a verse on this track. Anybody want to get on it? So I was like, cool. And so to be honest, when they first put Rolo onto the crew, I was the one who was like, nah, I don't really think that this cat is dope enough to represent the crew. Something about his style, and he was just a little off to me. He hadn't earned his chops or made his bones yet, but he really had some dope producers and dope music behind him. Yeah. So at first I was like, man, I don't know about that. And then, but as he kept going on over the months, that cat progressed, and he progressed really quick. And then so one day he posted on the chat, like, and then actually before that, some people were talking about, y'all should get together and do a song, won't. And at first I was like, the one time that in the chat that they mentioned it and he seemed open to it, I kind of just deferred and didn't really jump on it. So then he posted this beat on the chat, and so I was like, yo, yeah, this kid's dope. He's his chops. He's ready. I'm ready to be on a track with him. So I jumped on it, and it's a song called Cabinets, and it's on a project called Vegetables Volume 1 by a producer named PvP from Finland.
Wow. So
PvP just decided to do a second volume to Vegetables, and so he hit me up, and he's like, yo, you want to be on the thing? And I was like, sure, me and Yotun again? And he was like, nah, I want you to do a solo track, or maybe with you and some of your other folks. And I was like, all right, cool. So I did a track. It's called Sickness, and it's about my breakup this last time, because we've broken up hundreds of times. We've been together since the 7th grade. We have 3 children together. But this last breakup was really devastating for me, in the sense that I thought we had gotten where we needed to be, just to realize that it wasn't really. It was all just smoke and mirrors, And so I was in a good position when I went in, and now I'm in a hell of a bad position on the other side of it, just like the last time that I should have learned from. So hopefully this time I learned, like I said. So I wrote a song about it, and so this cat, from Finland, I'm on one of his projects, another one of his projects, and he's releasing it as a cassette, nice. Which Volume 1 was released as well, but I think those are sold out through an outfit called Insert Tapes, which is in Sweden. They're based in Sweden, so that's a part of the world that I've never been, and that I don't know if people know my name, so it's cool to me to be getting out there.
We got listeners in Sweden.
That's dope. Shout out to Sweden. Yeah, bring me out there. We'll do your show for super cheap.
Chris's people.
Yeah. Shout out to Reggie, my only true son. Yeah. Holding it down in Stockholm.
We're at. Oh, my bad.
I think it's kind of cool that the whole cassette, renaissance, how it's coming back, and how a lot of good stuff and good content is being played on cassettes now.
I still got my tape players, my dual deck technique tape player.
We just got some cassette demos from Count Time.
There it is, right over there.
Shout out to Count Time.
They actually recorded on cassette, man. That's awesome.
They sound nice, man. Cassette sounds nice. Yeah. I mean, you might get the hits in the background, but you hit that Dolby sound.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you guys right now. If anybody out there has any blank 8 tracks, or even if it's not blank, we could record over it. If you want to send me your 8 tracks, I want to release a project on 8-track.
On 8-track, actual 8-track.
Yeah, actual 8-track.
Oh wow.
Real
Yeah.
to real, or which one?
No, just a regular little 8-track
Oh,
little cassette.
gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
because I want to make people have to go out there and find 8-track tape players.
I got one.
I want to be so obscure that you really can't listen to my shit. You can have it, but you really can't listen to it because you
Make
can't. You don't.
I have a,
What you have to
I
do
have
is
a-
go
I-
to the junkyard, take a battery.
I'm
You'll
just,
find one of
and,
those
and I'm
cars,
joking.
man.
I just want to put that out there. I am joking. Don't send me fucking 8-tracks
I
and,
know-
and
I
a
might
bill
know.
for them. Like, yo,
I have a
we got-
homie.
you said you wanted them. That's
The
that's
Goodwill
an
store,
oral
you can
contract.
still get them. You can still get them at the Goodwill store.
I
I have
bet.
a realistic 8-track player.
So do
A
I.
little box, dude.
Yeah.
Steel player. I have a couple. I got some 8-tracks.
Yeah, man. So yeah, cassettes cool, man. That's what I came up on was cassettes.
Yeah.
I actually want to release a cassette, a project on cassette. I have a project. So here's where I get into the plugs. I have a project on my Bandcamp. So if you just go to my Bandcamp, it's darkside90042.bandcamp.com. I have like 4 or 5 projects up there.
Yeah, I heard of them.
2 of which are old projects.
Pretty good shit.
So the oldest project I got up there, well, it's actually 2 projects in one. It's called, so one part is called Unfinished, and the other part is called Nothing is Harder to Stop Than a Man Whose Time Has Come to Pass. So Unfinished and Nothing for short, they were both made in the same time period, right? In like the late 90s, early 2000s, right? But Unfinished is like the unfinished stuff, right? It's the stuff that never really went anywhere. There were like one-offs that might have been for a project that the project never got off the ground or something.
You got a lot of those. I got a
So-
lot of those in my head.
or it's things that like we made in the bedroom on a 4-track and it's like unmixed, real hissy. It's just all the nostalgic, like unfinished stuff. It's unpolished, right? So
Yeah.
it has a dual meaning. It's unfinished in that it's not complete.
kinda
It's
like
not
when-
part of any complete projects, and
Like
then
the
it's
Lost
also
Tapes.
unfinished. Yeah, kind of like Lost Tapes.
Tapes with Nas did.
It's also unfinished in that it's not polished. It's not shined
Yeah.
up, right? Like you got a
Straight up
wood
raw.
finish
yeah,
or stuff.
it's
Yeah.
straight raw.
Straight up raw, man.
I like that shit.
And so,
I love shit like
one of
that.
the things I did, low key, I'm kind of showing my hand like a magician telling his tricks. That project, if you play it on Bandcamp, the song order, the actual song order, is different from the track listing.
That's dope.
So you're listening to a song that has a title that's not that song.
Yeah.
And why? Because back in the days when we made tapes, maybe I was the one in charge of putting the music together, and maybe Bago was in charge of making the CD covers, and I forgot to tell him that I changed the order, and he already sent the shit to print, and we're broke, and we're barely scraping money together to put this together, so there ain't no changing it. So you just put it, and you put it together and say, well, maybe they won't notice.
It is
or
what it
something.
is.
Man, I have a funny story about that. I released my shit back in 2005 on tape, right?
Right.
Like I pressed like 25 tapes. I like about 3 of them. I don't have it. I forgot. I never put nothing in them. So
that
my boy
happens.
called me up. He's like, "Hey, fool, there ain't shit in here." I was like, "What?" Like, "Oh, my bad." So I had to like read.
So no audio on the
Nothing,
tape?
man.
Yeah, see, I know some homies that got beat up for putting CDs out like that.
Oh shit.
I know. Well, they weren't homies, but I knew some fools. That, I don't know if they were doing it on purpose or if it was an accident like
Yeah, it
that.
was
Like
an
maybe
accident, yeah, it was
maybe
an
10 out of the 50 that they
Yeah,
ran
it
had
happens.
nothing.
Might
But
have
yeah, I
been
remember
poetic.
fools getting
Might have
psyched.
been poetic, dude. Like the silence is the song.
Like
Right?
like that Booty Ting track.
There you go.
Yeah. That,
Shout out to
does
Booty
sound
Ting.
good.
That's just happened. So, but see,
Shout out to Pootie Tang and Poontang.
you
I
took
like
me
both of them.
back, man. You took me out saying all that because we were talking about that recording on 4-track.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, we used to
And
record shit
bouncing
on
tracks?
4-track. Yeah, bouncing
Stacking
tracks.
tracks?
We actually have them right
Oh,
there.
wow,
if
you got
wanna
the
fucking
4-track
play,
up on
yeah.
there. That's
And we
dope.
and I recorded it directly from the MPC, man. No mastering, no nothing, straight raw.
It's funny, so back in the days when I got out of the Army, I started a crew called For the Love of Hip Hop Family. I actually started while I was in the Army, and like I would call home, and these fools would like pass the phone around rapping, and then like I'd bust my freestyle
Nice.
on speakerphone. And
Did you record it?
No, none of that shit got
Oh,
recorded, bro.
man.
Those were things that we wish. Those are those moments where you wish there was a microphone open.
For the moment.
Yeah.
But so when I came home and everything, we started the crew, and so the dude, funny thing, right? The dude that had the 4-track was the white dude of the crew. Of course, he was the white dude. He was the homie. Shout out to the homie Altru. We used to call him Adverse back in the days, A-Bomb, but he goes by Altru now. Altru Music, Champion Sound Records. Check him out. Shout out to the homie. We're about to do a song together. We haven't worked together for a number of years, for probably like a decade plus. With that crew, things fell apart. We were doing things. When I got out of the Army, we started doing things, and I'm crew minded, so I was trying to put everybody on, and Some people didn't like some of the decisions I made as the leader, and they kind of branched off and did their own thing. And so things just fell apart. It started slowly unraveling for whatever reason. I'm not going to make any judgments on anybody, but, the defining moment was when my best friend at the time ended up engaging in an affair with my kid's mom. She wasn't my kid's mom at the time. So that caused a strain in the crew, and I had to disengage from a couple different things. So my kid's mom's the one who confessed to me after 2 years after my daughter was born, and she had an issue because she wasn't sure who the daddy was, and that's fucked up.
Whoa.
So she went through 2 years of wondering, and I had no idea. I was like, I'm the daddy, of course I'm the daddy. So she confessed to me one day, and because she told me, so if my homie would have came to me like, yo bro, your lady threw the cookie at me, then I would have been like, oh, thanks for telling me, homie, that's fucked up. We might have cried, we might have had to scrap real quick, but good looking out, bro. You told me, so we probably would have played pass around with her for a little bit, and then I would have kicked her to the curb. But she got pregnant, and I thought it was mine and was all in. But she came to me and told me that there was a possibility and whatnot. So I ran with her. I was like, well, we got to make this work. And so, we did the DNA test and found out and everything. So, she is mine. Spoiler alert. She is my daughter.
You didn't have to go to Maury Povich.
Yeah, we did. I wanted to. I was like, yo, I could promote the CD on Maury Povich.
You could have went to Chicago, man.
I'd have been like, while I was in the studio recording my latest CD, you can find it on SoundCloud.
And then that'll be the title of the CD, You Are the Father.
You are the Father. So, but we make light, but it was a heavy situation, right? And it's one of the devastating moments of my life. But what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. And so in that era and in all the tumult that happened in that time, I think I became a better person in general. And plus some of the people, like the homie, who ain't the homie no more, he wasn't the best person to be around anyways. I knew he was a snake. I just didn't think he'd bite me, right? Like you seen that scene from Natural Born Killers? Yeah. That's a Indian folktale from what if I'm to understand correctly. So yeah, he was a snake. I just didn't think he'd bite me. It turns out he did. So what can you do? What can you do? It is what it is.
Write a song about it.
Yeah, so I did. That's why he's still breathing. Is because I wrote songs about it, and I wrote songs, and I made projects. I was like, I'm gonna be dope. I'm gonna make shit. I'm gonna make music, and this was just gonna be a lame. So it's cool. Last I checked, he was still living with his mama at like 30 something years old. So
wow.
I've been out on my own since I was 18. Been paying my own way. So I guess if there is a victory, I am the victor in this case.
Nice.
One way or another, I'm making my own way. That's all I can say. I'm still standing, but not standing still.
So, did being in the military influence your music at all?
As far as your work ethic?
No. I don't know. I never thought about that really, but so I went to the Army because I got to senior year, and I woke up one day, and all my homies were like, I'm going to this college, I'm going to that college. And I was like, oh, shit, where the fuck am I going to go? So I told my dad, where am I going to go? And he was like, we ain't got no money to go to no college. You better put in for some scholarships. And so then I went to the college career office at my school. I used to go to Eagle Rock High School. I was a 1995 homecoming king, Eagle Rock High School.
Oh, shit.
That's my Al Bundy, Paul Kine moment. So, and if you catch me, I will have my hand down my pants, and I just wish I had a woman as fine as Peg to pipe down. I would not be running away from that.
Hey, we could whore out Chris. We'll put him some leopard print right there, some red hair.
So
give him some bonbons.
So I went to the
Darkside.
He already smokes.
I went to the College Career Center, and they kind of they did not give me any attention. They were focusing on the AP students, the high performing kids, and they really I sat in there for my whole lunch period, and nobody even acknowledged that I was there.
Wow.
So I was like, fuck this. And so I walked out of there, and who did I run into but my cousin, who was like, yo, your Uncle Sam wants to talk to you.
Oh, shit.
He wasn't really my cousin. And so anyways, so I signed on the dotted line, and I signed to the delayed entry program, and I signed up, and so I went to MEPS in June for the first time and got all my stuff lined up, right? And we picked a job, and I'm like, which one leaves after the summer? And so infantry was one. Now I could have got any job. My ASVAB scores were super high. I could have done any freaking job I wanted to, but I was looking for the one that had the shortest amount of time to serve, would give me the most amount of money, bonuses and stuff, and college money, and then would give me the summer as an adult after high school to party and have a good time. So I chose to be in 11 Mike, this mechanized infantry.
Nice.
And so that summer, I was rapping with the homie Savant, which I mentioned, Fight Academy. If you're looking to get in shape, holler at the homie. He'll teach you how to fight and all that good stuff. They're in Pasadena, Old Town Pasadena. They so Savant was him and the homie Abnormal. Shout out if you're out there. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. But if you happen to hear this, the homie Dedrick, holler at me. Let's see what you're doing. We'll compare notes. But anyways, we were rapping together. We had a little crew. We called ourselves the Aura, and so we basically got like a development deal from this production company. And so I went to my recruiter like, yeah, man, I got signed. Fuck y'all, I'm not going. And so they shut the door, locked it, and we're like, yo, we gotta tell you the secret. They were like, yeah, if you don't go, they're gonna arrest you, and if you're on the run, they'll like take your father in. And they like totally sold it to me, right? And I was like 18. I didn't know no better. These fools had authority, and they were like being serious. I was like, fuck, this is some army shit. I was a conspiracy theorist in my youth too, so I was like, damn, that shit is real. Yeah, these fools really will put the probe in my anus. So I just want to put it out there right now. Spoiler alert: there are no probes in my anus. The army did not. The army did not do that.
No, we checked.
The army did not do that.
Yeah.
He was walking normal.
Yeah, he was walking normal.
But
he walked up the stairs. Fine.
So they tricked me into going, and they basically what they told me. And you're gonna think I'm stupid, and I hope you don't look at me different for this. But they were like, yeah, once you get there, just tell them you want to go home. They'll put you on a plane and send you right home. Oh, they will? Okay. I didn't have nobody, no family members, nothing to tell me any better. So I went, right? And so they said, who wants to go home? And I was like, me. And they were like, why do you want to go home? I said, because I'm going to be a rapper. I got a record deal. Damn. And so they basically put me in the front leaning rest, which for those of you civilians is the push-up position. And they basically made me rap in front of everybody while I was in the push-up position until I couldn't anymore, until I fell. Now, I could rap for a hella long time, but I couldn't stay in the position, the push-up position for as long as I could rap.
You get flashbacks and shit.
So then after, it all broke up and they sent everybody on the way, this one sergeant pulled me to the side. He goes, he's like, well, why'd you come if you have this record deal? Like, what are you, stupid? And I'm like, I guess, because they said you'll send me home. And he's like, you didn't really think about that, did you? They spent $3,000 just to get your butt here. You think they're going to put you on a plane and spend another $3,000 to send you home? And I was like, yeah, I guess I didn't think about it. I go, my recruiters lied to me. And he said something that stuck with me that I say to this day. He said, your recruiter didn't lie to you, son. You failed to ask the right questions. Wow. And so that's what I tell these students. I said, no, they didn't lie, bro. You just failed to ask the right questions.
Wow.
So never stop asking questions.
Oh, I was about to go to Marines, man, back then.
Yeah.
I was about to sign on dotted line, and something just told me, nah. I wanted to be a rapper. No, I was kidding.
So then when that same drill sergeant was pinning my blue cord, which I'm proud to have, he's like, hey, Maya, are you happy that I didn't send you home? And so I looked him in the eye and I said, Sarge, I think I'm a better person overall. So I appreciate it, drill sergeant.
That's cool.
I said, I think you made the right decision.
Wow.
And he says, I think I did too. You're gonna make a great soldier. I did pretty good, I mean, I didn't get kicked out or anything. I did get an Article 15. Article 15. There you go. Yep. I'm thinking 13 because I was getting high. I was smoking weed. It should have been Article 13. But no, actually, the Article 15 was for Drunken Public as a youth. They caught me 19 drunk. Drunk is dead to rights drunk. Damn. They didn't take any money from me, but they did give me extra duty and restriction for 14 days.
I had to do community service with that one.
Yes, it was
$400 ticket.
It was worth it. I started a riot that I didn't get to participate in because the police got me right before the shit hit the fan at the burrito spot down the street. I said something to one group of people that my homies had to clean up at the end of the night. But yeah, so yeah, I was in the Army. It was cool. I enjoyed myself.
Where were you at?
I was stationed in Fort Riley, Kansas. I was part of the Big Red One, 1st and 16th Infantry, mechanized infantry. I gotta say that I had one of the best experiences I ever had in the Army was we had learned how to rappel, right? So we're on the tall ass rappel wall, and we did that like all day. And then so at the end of the day, the sergeant is like, we got extra duty on Saturday. on the rappel wall, teaching civilians how to rappel. Anybody want to do it?
Oh man.
So my homie, my sergeant homie, he was like, "Yo, let's do it, Amaya." He's like, "You ain't got shit to do." He's like, "Let's do it. Fuck it." I was like, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it. Let's do it." I said, "If you're gonna do it, we'll do it. You owe me one though." He's like, "Yeah, cool." So we did. You know, we woke up early that Saturday. We got bussed out there. We're already up there. We're tying up. We're doing stuff. And so this big old bus pulls up, right?
What?
And it says KState on the side. I'm like, fuck. Motherfucking football players, man. Or these motherfucking basketball players. Either one. Either they're heavy as fuck or they're tall as fuck. It's not going to be fun.
They're all scared of heights.
It was the cheerleaders.
Oh, man.
Best
nice.
extra duty ever. Bro.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was
Oh,
the
yeah.
cheerleaders, dog.
Hell
We
yeah.
spent the whole day teaching these little cheerleaders how to rappel. And then at the end, they're like, "I didn't think I could do it, but you helped me do it. Oh, my God." And then so whenever we'd see them out, man, they're like, "Oh, you're the one that taught me how to go down the wall." Yeah.
Nice.
And it was on. It was on. It was like the best thing I ever did in the Army was teach these cheerleaders how to rappel, because that was it. It was over. You know, we did not... the football players ended up hating us because we take their girlfriends because we actually had jobs.
Yeah, money.
Yeah,
You in your pocket.
I could buy them flowers and I could take them to a restaurant other than Hardee's.
I had that E3 pay, baby.
Did you guys listen to a lot of rap over there in the Army while you were there stationed? or-
Yeah, I actually got exposed to a lot of rap that I didn't
Really?
before
Like
because
what?
there were people from all over the country there.
Really?
So a lot of like underground New York stuff.
Yeah.
That off the top of my head, I can't remember a lot of it, like who it was and whatnot. I actually had a homie from Canada that became a U.S. citizen at like 16 or 17. And like still had family in Canada,
Yeah.
so I got hip to a lot of Canadian rap.
Oh, wow.
And then there's like the Hot Boys, Louisiana, all those Cash
yeah,
Money
back
and all
in
that
the
when
day,
when they were new.
Yeah.
You know, Master P when he was on his way, you know, over the hill, over the hump.
Yeah.
So like just Florida, rappers from Florida. Like I thought only bad stuff happens in Florida, but some good rap came out of there. I was like, damn, that's
There's
crazy.
stories about Florida.
So yeah, so you know, I mean, it exposed me to a lot of music, of hip hop especially. But then also, like I got into Marilyn Manson because one of my close homies out there that was in my platoon listened to it. He was 3 rooms down.
Yep.
And so whenever we're in his car, we had to listen to what he wanted to. Although every once in a while, he would let me play something because he knew, like, if I came to him like, "Yo, bro, I got this new CD. We got to listen to it." He would be like, "Oh, sure," because he knew it was going to be good.
Yeah.
And he knew that we always listen to his stuff anyways, too. So every once in a while, he'd be cool and let me listen. So, you know, I mean, even like some country music. You know, I still don't like contemporary country because it's just basically pop with a country drawl.
Yeah.
But you know, they hit me to a lot of classic stuff. You know, like some Engelbert Humperdinck, some, you know, original Johnny Cash stuff, some Kenny Rogers stuff that I knew also because my grandmother was into country and into Elvis.
Pretty good music, actually, dude.
So, well, the older stuff was
it's
pretty
pretty
good.
good shit, man.
Newer stuff is kind of like I said, it's trying to be pop music. I mean, they got something
even-
called hick hop.
I heard about it.
Hick
I
hop, bro.
heard of
That's
that
it's
shit,
hip hop
man.
for
Yes.
hicks.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
straight up.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Right in
it's
the
a
South.
genre. It's a
Yeah.
straight up genre now.
in the South.
So you know, more power to them. But and you know, there's a whole bunch of questions around that. Like, can it be hip hop? How dare they? If they're gonna run the Confederate flag in their videos, they shouldn't call themselves hip hop.
I mean,
because
the
it's
music
against
is
thing, but-
music is hip hop. I mean, if you hear the beats and all
Style,
that, you
all
can
that.
tell. I mean, you can't deny it. You know,
Yeah.
because they're not singing.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
So it's straight out.
So like
they're
Bubba
rapping,
Sparks was dope, but some
Yeah.
of these other cats, I'm like, I don't know.
because a lot of that stuff I hear now. I mean, it's mainstream, but not in the on the radio.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of shit sounds pretty nice. I can't deny it. They're pretty good. You know, it's just that their scene is a lot different. They're not over here. You know, they're not from over here. You know, they're not cruising in cars.
Exactly.
They're not bumping it and shit like that. They got their own thing, which I respect. You know, it's
Right.
it's universal.
And you know, we used to go see hip hop out there too. I was in Kansas, which it was we were right outside of KState, home of the Wildcats, and we were 45 minutes away from Kansas City, which is a city over 2 states. Half of it is in Kansas, and the other half is in is in Missouri.
Yeah.
So
Missouri.
we used to go to what was it called? So anyways, there was a town in Kansas right outside of Kansas City where KU is located. And so my homie was dating a girl that went to KU. So we'd go out there. It's a 45-minute trip. We'd go out there every once in a while. And that's where they had all the big concerts.
Okay.
So like I was supposed to see J. Rue the Damager and Tricky.
Oh shit.
But the show before that one, J. Rue left the tour. He got into it with Tricky. He's one of Tricky's like people. And so he left the tour. And that's who I really wanted to see.
Nice.
You know, and there was like underground stuff in Kansas City that the homies would take me to go see. And, you know, I had a good time. I really had a good time being out there. I reinvented myself. I could be who I wanted to be. I could just be whoever I wanted to be. I didn't have to worry about these fools know me from the hood, and they know a couple of my secrets that, you know, I might be proud of or not proud of. So
I think Rick talks about stuff like that every now and then.
But I didn't stop smoking weed. I smoked weed the whole time I was there. We were taking a risk. I had homies get kicked out for getting caught. It was like playing the lotto, right? Except it's the lotto you didn't want to win. So
and you were under the Clinton administration.
It makes you want to go to the army now, man. Shit. Well, Crick
Well,
talk.
it opened up the doors for all kinds of music, like you said.
Yeah.
You walked on the hallway in the barracks, country here, hip hop here.
Yeah.
You'll hear some weird freaking
Crazy.
some weird
shit.
Croatian shit going on in this room, dude.
yeah.
This is a mixture, but it makes sense, you know.
So what about like the music that you made, like the music that you
Well-
made back then now to before to you make now?
So when I was in the army, I wrote, but I didn't really have music. I didn't have beats, so I didn't really write songs.
Kind of like poems.
You know, some people could say that, and I'm not gonna lie. There's been times where I've dug into old books and pulled something out and used it.
Yeah.
You know, I might have had to fix it up and gloss it up a little bit, but I have like 4 or 5 books full of songs that aren't songs. They were never written to any music. That I've been wondering, like, what should I do? Like, I'm thinking maybe I should release them as poetry books and put a couple, you know, take the best of them out and make one like poetry book and call it like just. My idea would just be a composition book, right? Where it says compositions, and it says like Darkside, like all tagged on there, like how we used to have them, and that would be like my chat book.
Yeah,
just put it out as a chat book. So that's one of the things I've been floating. But
Army memory.
But yeah. So those times I didn't have music per se. I was just rapping.
Did you have something in the background, like what kind of music it would be involved? Because I'm pretty sure you heard melodies while you're writing it. Naturally, by instinct.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't something that I was consciously saying, oh, I'm gonna write the song like this one or like that one, and I didn't like listen to instrumentals and write to them, you know. So I mean, it was just what was in my mind, what was coming out of my mind at the time, you know. And I mean, I made a whole album called "Hello, My Name Is Darkside." This was before Eminem came out with the "Hi, my name is."
Yeah.
So that was gonna be like my album. I was gonna get out of the army and I was gonna use my money and buy studio equipment and become a rapper, and that was gonna be my first album.
Your GI Bill.
I had bought some turntables with a little mixer that had an EQ built in, and it also had a little 10-second sampling things.
I remember those.
You know, so I was like, I was with it, I was down, and I got out of the army. And I ran into my kid's mom, who we had broken up in 10th grade, and so now we're 19, you know, 20-ish.
You have that GI Bill in your pocket.
And I ran into her, and it was like the sky opened up, and the angels sang, and the sun just shined on her, and so we got back together, and so I moved in with her, and I put all my equipment in a box that was supposed to go. But there was never any space for it, you know how girls do. I don't know where we're gonna put it. It's so big.
With your teddy bears,
Yeah, right?
And your purses.
We'll take the teddy bear wall and we'll just put it in the corner.
And are your shoes?
So point being is it was in some boxes in the corner, and so I had some friends that, even though I left smoking P-Dogs behind me, they didn't, and one of them was living with me at the time in my dad's house, and so when I moved out, there was these boxes in the corner. Well, one day I get a phone call from a friend of mine. Well, actually, I called a friend of mine, like, yo, we're having this party. You want to come to this party? I was working in the studio, right? And they were having a party, so they told me to invite some of my friends. So I called my homie. He's like, bro, I've been trying to get a hold of you. Like, did you change your number or something? I'm like, oh, yeah, let me give you the new number. He's like, hey, I just want to ask you, like, does Nigel have DJ equipment? And I was like, yeah, he does. He's like, oh, okay, because he's been calling me, asking me to take him to sell his equipment. And I was like, dude, he has crappy equipment. Ain't nobody going to buy that stuff. And then it hit me. It's my fucking equipment. So I called my dad's house and talked to my uncle who was living there. My uncle Fats, rest in peace. He, I was like, yo, can you go to my room and see if the boxes are still in the corner? So he goes in there, he goes, no, they're gone. Damn. And I was like, what the fuck? You didn't see these fools taking it out? And he goes, well, yeah, I did. And when I asked him, he said that you knew about it. And I was like, you didn't think to call me? Well, I don't know. That's your friend. Fuck. So yeah, that fool sold it. So I basically just ransacked the room and found all his stuff. I took all his clothes, everything that he bought with the money, and then there was like $200 left that I found in like a Walkman. It was stuffed in a Walkman. So yeah, I just took all the shit, and then when he came, I just told him to break, kick rocks, break north, and so he did. He's no longer alive. Rest in peace, Nigel Loban. I don't hate you beyond the grave. But yeah, he went on to get clean with his family after a couple of situations. And when he got clean, he replaced crack with cheeseburgers, McDonald's cheeseburgers, and then he died of renal failure because his body had been so depleted that he wasn't giving it nutrients. All he was eating was like 10 cheeseburgers a day or something like that. And so his body ballooned and his kidneys gave out and he died.
It must have been McDonald's.
Yeah, fuck McDonald's, you know. Unless they want to sponsor us and then send us cheeseburgers.
So we're looking for King Taco.
Yeah, we're Taco Cast.
Or even the taco
no
spot
doubt.
we go to.
There you go.
So let's talk about your music right now, man.
Perfect.
Anything that stands out to you right now that you want to actually present to the crowd right now, man? We're about to play something for them.
Perfect.
Which song you want to talk about?
So, like I said, I was part of the Hardw3rk. I am part of the Hardw3rk Microphone Collective, and one of our producers I didn't mention, my homie Listo. I call him Listo, but he goes by Mind of the Innocent. We made a project. It's 7 tracks. It's called Fall Down 7 Times, Get Up 8. The group is called Dark Innocence. It's Darkside and Mind of the Innocence. We put it together, Dark Innocence. You can find that at CD Baby. Just go to store.cdbaby.com/CD/Dark Innocence 1, the number 1. DARKINNOCENTS, the number 1. And that's where you can purchase the product. So the song that I'm going to play is basically the lead single. It's going to be where we've started shooting a video for it, although we're shooting another video for another song on that project as well, but that's probably going to be like the lead single, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
And it's called Take It or Leave It. And so, you know, we'll play that. I'll let the music speak for itself, but it's the project that I did after Seedless told me to you know, push my boundaries. So the beats that I chose aren't necessarily beats that I would have normally chose. And Listo's not a producer that makes beats that I would normally choose to work with, but I mean, he has heat, but it's just most of the style of his stuff is not really my style. And so I was pulling from what he has that was more my style, but that also was pushing my boundaries too. So this is probably the example of the song that's closest to my original style, that's least like that. But if you listen to the rest of the project, you'll see, if you use this as your entry point, it's actually the centerpiece of the album. And then you just start from the top and let it run all the way till it stops. And if you purchase the project, do not stop it until it stops. All right? I'm not going to tell you why, but just let it play out. So, yeah. So this song is called Take It or Leave It by Dark Innocence.
These streets will have you twisted, just trying to survive. Every morning my eyes open, I'm grateful to be alive. Arrived at this ripe old age, not by mistake, but because I properly weigh every decision that I make. All hard, never half mine. Me and my crew are no joke, Ultron when we combine. Inclined to cause damage, my brother I say time just to stop the beating. Got your whole squad retreated, Hardw3rk Microphone Collective defeated. Every challenge a reason being, we seasoned in the scene. Been doing it for stripes and life is but a dream, it seems. An American nightmare, you got guns, they got drones. What you expect them to fight fair? Take flight in their lines, they say it's not fair. Mine's a battle tested, I stay invested in protecting my investment. You're lucky if you're left with a breath in your body. Got me on my English shit, teaching left. I told you once, yo, I never say it twice. Don't make me come out the frame, cause it ain't nothing nice. You wanna play the game, you're gonna have to pay the price. And be ready for anything is my only advice. Testing boundaries, bounding obstacles, I'm bound to be. Reaping the bounty of my labor, savor the flavor of victory. Nectar sweet, protect your fleet, ascension defeat lingers. 5 fingers ain't shit to a fist, you get the middle, the Bozak and the dill stick. Real quick to put you out your misery, brutally slow. I don't usually go out of my way to slay a snake when I'm too busy hunting dragons. Fire breather, non-believer, sending you to your afterlife, meet Jamaica. Taker of souls, creator of flows that are formidable. I'm unforgettable, legitimate, I go for the gusto. To be unforgettable is my goal, so I bust those flows like jewels to a fix in the ground. I come on with the style and show you how I get down. So back the fuck up off me, I'm fresher than any oddity. If I'm in the house, it's getting torn down, more likely than probably. I told you once, yo, I never say it twice. Don't make me come out the frame, cause it ain't nothing nice. You wanna play the game, you gotta have to play the game to be ready for anything is my only advice. If I told you once, yo, I never say it twice, don't make me come out the frame, cause it ain't nothing nice. You wanna play the game, you gonna have to pay the price and be ready for anything is my only advice. My only advice. My only
Speaking about free music, man, I heard you have something about free music.
Oh yeah, so basically, so I don't want to call it a record label because it's not a record label by any means. But the umbrella that I put music out under is Music is Free Records, and the motto is music is free. It's the rent that costs, and so that's where I put all my music. So all my music has like music is free hashtagged on it. So yeah, that's just this little thing that I put together. I've been having that for a long time. It's been an idea that's been floating around. And, you know, back in the days when I thought I was going to make a record label, that was going to be the record label. You know, but now it's kind of like, whatever. It's just this idea that I represent. You know, and so in the near future, maybe some other artists come on and, you know, I put them out and I put them on and, you know, it might be under Music is Free Records. But I don't in any way function as a like real record label.
So do you think in the state of mind that everybody's in right now, you know, everybody has Spotify, all this streaming music, man, what do you feel about it, man? Do you feel that music should be free, or you think labels should still charge at least something to support their business, you know? Because end of the day, artists have to make money.
Yeah, no doubt. So you know, in a perfect world, we would make music because, you know, it makes people happy and people like it, not because it sells this many units, you know. But with this current state, you know, the economy we live in and whatnot, yeah, you're right. Like, people do need to make money. I'm lucky that I make my bread and butter off of my career as a teacher, and so music for me is just an outlet. And I'd love to make money off of it. And, you know, my students ask me, like, oh, if you blew up, would you stop teaching? And I tell them, yeah, real quick, yes. If I could get paid to sit in the studio and record all day, yeah. Like, I was like, I love y'all and I love my job, but if I could do that, you know? I would do it. And then once that was over, I'd come back to teaching. I'd have that to fall back on. So that's my lesson to them. Like go for your dreams, but also have a plan just in case the dreams don't, you know, come to fruition. In the time frame that you expect them to. So have
a backup to a backup.
Yeah, that was my backup right there, music, because, you know, I wanted to be big, you know, artist, whatever, blah blah blah. For sure. You know, wanted to be a fucking architect, the whole nine. But then, in the back of my head, I always had music. You know, I'm like, music has always seriously been a hobby to me, and I wanted to turn my music into a career at one point.
Oh yeah,
but
I mean, that
shit
did too.
happens.
Definitely,
you know?
I did too.
How do you feel?
Now podcasting is your...
Now this is my full-time, believe it or not, this is my full-time job right now is podcasting. This is always in my head. Right, Rick?
Yeah, we all took a break from our music career to help out others through this podcast.
Big time.
There you go. That's dope. It's a beautiful thing. So, you know, one thing that I've been wanting to do, and you guys kind of gave me the go-ahead to do it, is that, you know, at the podcast, you guys have been doing this for a while and whatnot. But one thing I doubt is that your listeners might not know a lot about you as much as they know of the people you've exposed. So I wanted to take this opportunity as a new family member to turn the microphone onto you guys.
Nope.
And
There it is.
since this is the first time that we've met,
Uh-oh.
I want you guys to tell me and your listeners a little something about yourselves and what La Clika podcast is all about.
My name is Chris. I'm a Scorpio. I like walks on the beach.
I'm Louis, aka Boggle, and I'm a Libra. I don't like long walks on the beach because that shit gets all over your fucking ankles and shoes and shit like that.
Yeah, then it gets in your car, but you know, it's the
but
excitement of all
Yeah,
of it.
but I don't like all that shit, dude. I'd rather lay on the fucking sand and chill, dude. Fuck the walk on the beach.
Right.
I'm the bearded one. You're welcome.
So where are you guys from?
Well, I'm from HP. Chris is from HP, and we got South Bay Boggle over there.
Man, what's up?
Right. And so what do you guys do? Like, you know, you talked about putting your music careers aside and whatnot. So tell me a little bit about that. What does this mean? What do you guys do in the music scene?
Well, me personally, I do a lot of art. I'm a big time artist. You know, I'm always painting. That's my passion. My career. I'm a designer, graphic designer.
Right.
That's what I do. Music is something I started doing it back in high school. I've DJ'd. After high school, I started doing a lot of music production. You know, I got into the music production part of it. I quit my college. I quit college for it.
Right.
And I got into the music production. I was, you know, with a label. I was doing my thing, doing the tours.
Cool.
You know, after that, I kind of left it. You know, I went back to college. I finished it, got my degree. And I was like, you know what, music is always going to be something I'm doing. So I put a couple albums. And since music was always something I always did, why not talk about music?
Right.
So when Chris hit me up about this podcast he was talking about, well, actually La Clika, it was a thing that we were doing. He's like, hey man, this podcast we're doing is going to be uniting a lot of music. We're going to unite. We're not only going to talk about one genre. We're going to talk every genre, man. That was the most brilliant idea ever.
It is dope.
And I thought, wow, we're really onto something if we do it right. So us starting this podcast was for that reason. Is who doesn't want to talk about music, man?
Right. Give a voice to local
You know?
talent. Why not?
So we figured, let's try it out. Let's do it.
Dope.
This was a year ago.
We wanted to break down the walls between the fans and the bands, basically. We wanted to rid the mystique and the hierarchy of the artists and merge the fans with the artists themselves
Dope.
and have a voice. And something that Facebook and what's that other one?
Instagram.
Not Instagram, but the
YouTube?
MySpace.
MySpace.
They failed to do. You know, this is what they were, I guess, more MySpace than Facebook, but they wanted to merge that.
Right.
And that between the sponsorship and all the selfies and all the megalomania, we never wanted us to be in front of the podcast. We wanted our artists and the artists that we wanted to showcase to be the centerpiece.
Right.
We wanted to be the face in the background. And like I always said, and I've said this before, like, you know, you go like to see like you ever take your kids to go see the Muppets live,
Right.
and you see the Muppets,
Yeah.
you know, showcase, and you see the guys dressed in black holding the Muppets.
Right.
That's La Clika.
Dope.
You know, we want to be involved, and we want to help the scene, because the worst thing that I hate is like people. There's no good music out there. Yes, there is. You just gotta look. You gotta dig.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
gotta holler
saturated
at
with
my
a
homies.
lot of bad stuff.
You ever
gotta
heard of
saturate.
Church of the Eighth Day?
No.
It's my homie Daniel Dismal. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, he's into the hardcore stuff. So
Yeah.
you know, we used to do a hip hop show together too. He likes hip hop too, so we called it the Melting Pot. But yes, I totally feel you. That's what I was as a promoter when I used to do shows. It's because I wanted to put people on.
Yeah.
I also wanted to be able to rap every night. You know, so that
Yeah,
was cool. I
platform.
did that, but also I put a lot of people on, and I built a brand in a way that people came to see my shows because they knew they were going to see quality music, even though they never heard of these people. They knew it was going to be good.
Yeah.
And so they came just to see Melting Pot and whoever was on. So, all right. And what about you, man? What's
Well,
your musical
I was one of those
background?
guys. Well, I used to record bands. back in the day. I used to throw shows back in the day as well. Just like I had to take a hiatus from music for 15 years because of the career I chose.
Right.
It just doesn't allow you that creative freedom because I gotta watch what I say, watch what I do. I gotta give myself a good image.
Right.
So once I kind of got out of that and I was able to grow my beard,
Right.
I start thinking ahead. I'm like, dude, we always talk about music, and I'm always like, I can't find any good music. And I always tell Chris, he goes, you gotta dig. But when you have a career that doesn't allow you to do that,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not on the phone 24/7. I'm not looking at Instagram 24/7. We always talk about music. I'm like, dude, just let's talk about fucking music. And so far, it's opened the doors up for a lot of different music I would not listen to. I wasn't a big hip hop head at all. And then just talking to Boggle, I'm like flowing him. I went to my first hip hop show last week.
Oh, that's dope.
You know,
People under the stairs.
Yeah.
Baby,
Oh, those are homies.
Yeah.
That's one and Double K. I know those cats.
yeah. And I was over there taking pictures on the stage. I'm like, all right, I'm feeling this shit, dude.
Yeah, I interviewed them for Joints magazine. It was
wow.
like this little,
Holy shit! I
little
got a
tiny
couple
magazine.
Of those. I
Yeah,
got some.
you
of
might
those,
have
yeah.
my
I have
articles in there. I did
Oh,
Burning
wow.
Star. I did People in the Stairs. I did the Visionary.
I have it. I actually have that one.
There you go. I need a copy, bro. You need to make it.
Oh
You
shit!
need to take pictures of it and send it to
This
me.
guy doesn't throw anything away.
Yeah,
dude.
dude, I'm a
Hey,
hip hop hoarder.
Me neither.
I'm
I
a
have
hip
them
hop hoarder,
somewhere. I
man.
have to have them somewhere, but I've moved so many times that they're buried somewhere.
He has diapers from 1978.
Dude, he has
Still got shit in him.
discarded ramen wrappers.
No, you know, it's a trip. I have the LA riots, the paper.
Wow.
That's how
Oh.
much I go. I have
did,
I have the easy article when he actually passed away.
We did the 10-year anniversary of the LA riots. We did a show to commemorate that.
Wow.
It was I think it was called City on Fire or something like that.
Nah, I'm a hip hop hoarder, man. So we got to get together and maybe
Yeah,
do a little mini
definitely.
museum.
So yeah, so People Under the Stairs, they're dope. That's one actually was dating this girl that I went to high school with, and so she was like, "Oh, you got to meet this guy named Chris. He makes beats and whatnot." So we met one day, and I feel like gave me a cassette with beats on it, and that's another. I have that somewhere. I just don't know where. But I've communicated with us here and there. But you know how it is. No, everybody's in their own bubble and they're doing their own thing. So there's never really been an opportunity to collaborate with him. And, like Merce, I came up with Merce and Scarab and Eli and, been friends with PSC and stuff like that. So
Actually, my boy Hydro.
Hopefully we can get people
hooks
together.
up with. They do the Felipe's Garage. My boy
okay.
Hydro is actually involved with them. We actually had
Right,
Hydro
yeah.
here. We actually interviewed
that's
Hydro
dope.
here, man.
That's dope. Yeah, I know they're doing that. I think it's like Cookbook and
Yeah.
Merce.
Looking Merce.
Yeah, Merce is a homie. He's
Nice.
everybody's homie, but he's mine. I know. Actually, so talking about Savant and Merce's video, I can't remember. It was on Merce for President. It's like the video from the first single off of that.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene where he's like in the octagon and like the homie picks him up and slams him down and stuff. So that's the homie
Nice.
Savant. That's at his
Sweet.
gym.
Nice.
But yeah, cool, man. I'm glad you guys let me do that because, I know how it is. Like sometimes you're on one side of the mic and I just wanted to give you the opportunity and your listeners the opportunity to, pull you to the other side and give us a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
We appreciate that, dude.
Yeah.
No, thanks, man. Thanks.
No
We've
diggity.
never been interviewed this first century.
Ah.
Yeah, I know how.
It's awkward, but all right, cool.
I've been threatening to do it to a couple podcasts, so I was like, I'm gonna do it. They said I'm gonna do it. They said it's my show. I'm gonna run it.
We're open to it. We're open to everything.
That's fresh, man.
Ask
That's
us
really
odd
dope.
questions. Fuck it. We ask odd questions.
Yeah,
all the time.
we're not gonna ask about how many times you've seen the Donkey Show and all that good stuff.
6.
17.
Once.
They all had
Once.
immediate answers.
Wait, hold on. 17 and 10 in one day.
Yeah.
Wow.
La Revolucion.
Passed out drunk in the back.
La Revolucion, baby. They got some good
Word up.
tacos. I don't know what kind of tacos they got, but they're good as fuck.
Donkey meat tacos.
Those are the donkeys that can't get it up anymore. That's what it is.
So I remember
happens
when I went to like TJ with a friend back when I was like 16, his dad was like, you know how to pick a good taco stand in TJ? I was like, I don't know. And he's like, go to the one that has the most dogs hanging around it. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, the dogs won't hang around a taco stand where they're being served. He's like, they know that they're going to become tacos if they hang around. So if they're hanging around, that they're feeding them carne and it's not dog that you're eating.
We're going to call that La Clika tip number 1.
Tips for traveling.
Hang your own
That
dogs.
should be a little segment into our musicians
Yeah.
getting tacos.
Yeah, we got a little series coming on
Oh,
soon,
dope.
man. So
That sounds
you're
dope.
down. You're always welcome for it.
I'm
Actually,
always down for tacos, man.
So that's
Dude,
hey.
I
there-
stood in a
you're gonna be our
long-ass
first
Hey,
guest.
I stood in that long ass line to get tacos for 50 cents a piece at,
shit.
at King Taco when they had their like
Oh, yeah.
20-year
Oh,
anniversary
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
like,
man.
I got like like 15 tacos. I had a homie that got like 20, 25 tacos.
I think the most
like,
tacos I've ever eaten was 14 in one sitting.
Yeah.
I had 24 in one sitting in Mexico. dude.
Well, he kicks ass, man.
18 was my limit.
Our tradition is after the podcast, we always go get tacos.
Yeah, I ate those 12 and that was good. So
That's our tradition, man. I don't know where we're gonna go today, but we'll go somewhere.
I'm still down, dude. Sick and all, I'll still go, man.
That's our secret. We're letting our secrets out.
Yeah.
No, we do videos. We post videos of
that's
us eating
dope.
tacos.
That's dope.
We're slowly getting better at those videos.
But right now we're trying to get like actual artists to chill with us and
That's dope.
little mini interview. Of
It's an idea I have.
what was it?
bouncing
What's it
around.
called? What's it called?
You know, because Jerry Seinfeld has the comedians in the cars getting coffee.
Yeah.
And I wanted to rip off that idea, have musicians in the ghettos getting tacos.
It's a dope one. Musicians in the calles getting tacos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna happen.
Hell yeah.
You're
For
welcome.
sure. I'm down, man. Let me know.
So cheers to that.
Cheers to that. So going back to your music, what's the most memorable time that you had in the studio, and who's the artist you like to work with the most?
So the most memorable time I had in the studio. So I used to work when I got out of the army. I went to recording school at the LA Recording Workshop in North Hollywood.
Oh shit.
And I got my little recording engineer certificate, and then I got a job at a studio called Enterprise Studios. I don't think they're around anymore, but they were in Burbank, like on Magnolia Boulevard by like Hollywood Way and shit. And I worked there for 3 years. And the first year I was just a runner. I'd get food and pick up gear and tapes and stuff for the artists in the sessions, setup sessions, tear down sessions, clean bathrooms, all that stuff. And I got to meet a lot of like dope artists. I got a J-Lo story I'll tell really quick. So my kid's mom, when we were together at that time, she had a J-Lo booty. Doesn't have it anymore, but she did at the time. And so I got off of a run and I had smoked a joint, so I was high as fuck. I had ordered myself an order of food on their bill, so I had that in the car. I was getting ready to go grub. And so I walk in and I'm delivering this food and I look down the hallway and I see this booty that looks like my baby. So I was like, damn, my girl, she came to surprise me or something cool. So I go and I deliver the food and then I'm going to walk up to her. I'm going to go put my arms around her and give her a kiss. So as I'm approaching the hall turns, right? And as I approach, I see this tall white dude sitting there with the earpiece in a suit. Big buff dude. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this the FBI? Like, did they come to get me or what the fuck? And then so as I get closer, I see there's this big old black dude. Suit, sunglasses inside, and earpiece and everything. So I'm like, something's fucking weird. So as I approach, I kind of pass by them and I look, and it's J-Lo. And I was like, I'm so glad I didn't. I just throw my arms around J-Lo with these two big ass motherfuckers.
Go slap her ass.
I would have been telling this like this and been limping on my way up here.
Dude, you would have slapped that ass.
Yeah.
I get to see the news piece on that. A Northeast LA native was arrested this afternoon for assaulting J-Lo.
That would have been 15 minutes of fame right there. Man.
Hey, even worse though, he would have slapped that ass.
I would have been on the gurney as they were wheeling me out, and they said, "What were you thinking?" When I said, "I was thinking I want to get signed and get a record deal. So if you like my music."
Shape for perfect plug right there. Man.
I'm telling you,
You're trying to get a bass beat off that ass, dude.
So so we would get studio time, right? So when the studio was vacant, we would book time, and so at the time, this cat named Dave Pensado, he's a real well-known engineer. Shout out to Dave Pensado, Pensado's Place. Check him out on YouTube. He's a Grammy Award-winning engineer. He's done work for like Black Eyed Peas and like Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, like all the major pop stars. He's done their music, and so. He had an assistant engineer named Dylan Dresdo, who actually is now an engineer in his own right. He's a Grammy award-winning engineer. He did the Black Eyed Peas' last handful of albums and stuff. And so anyways, Dylan was off that day. The studio was vacant. And so I hit him up like, hey, Dylan, you want to come and engineer a session for me? He's like, yeah, sure. He had heard my music before and he liked it. So we recorded in Studio J, which was like the most expensive, biggest, best studio. It had the second largest J9000 SSL J9000 console, and it was the first longest. But this guy from Iran, this rich dude from Iran, he bought a SSL console for his daughter's recording studio, her home studio, and he wanted to have the claim to having the largest. So they had to pay the owner of my studio because he had the claim, and it was in writing that it was a deal.
Yeah.
that he had the claim to having the largest SSL, so they had to buy those rights from him. And this guy from Iran was like, I don't care, I'll pay whatever.
That's it.
So we had the second largest J console. So it was great, you know. Somebody was throwing away 2-inch tapes, so I took them. Instead of throwing them in the trash can, I put them in my van, and then when it was time to record, I just degaussed them, and we started fresh on them. And
what you do?
I used to bootleg music, like you know, if I had time in the studio, I would take like tapes from like the Black Eyed
You're
Peas.
the one.
I have a Black Eyed Peas bootleg that has
guy.
3 songs that never came out on Bridging the Gap.
I heard about that guy.
I took the tapes, I put them on the machine, and I just recorded and you know, dropped it to CD, and now I had a copy of some stuff that never made it out.
Oh wow.
I never sold it though. I never like sold it.
What
So I
album
didn't
was
make money
it?
off
Which
of it.
album? The first
Bridging
one?
the Gap
Which one was
This is
that?
like their
It was
third
the
album, I
Third
think,
one, I
yeah.
think. Believe. Yeah, it was. Yeah, third
with
one.
Macy Gray
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that.
You could release it under a different name.
I know, right?
Like a brown eyed
Macy, Macy Black or something like that.
So that was
Reed Fight
probably like
Beans.
the best studio session I ever had because it was like professionaled out,
Yeah.
and he was a really good engineer. You know, at the time he was still making his bones, but he was still good even then.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he recorded the song for us. It came out really good, and you know, it was pretty cool. It's on the Nothing Is Harder to Stop Than a Man's Time Has Come to Pass, which is the album I told you from like the early 2000s. So I was telling you, Unfinished is like the stuff that was like throwaway stuff. It didn't ever make it to any projects or anything like that. It was really different qualities and stuff. And I told you how, as a throwback nostalgia to the tape era, like the tape track listing is off. We also mastered it so that some songs are louder on purpose than others, you know, because that's how tapes used to be. You were listening to like a song and it was really low, so you turn up your radio, and then the next song was like super loud, so you had to turn it down again.
Remember the fucking Simpty? I used to hook
So,
up
yeah.
my fucking MP to the
Simpty
Simpty.
playing. So we did that on purpose, right, as a throwback. And that is a project that I'm probably going to put out on tape because
man.
it's perfect. That's full circle.
Put it on
put
vinyl,
tape.
man. Hook that shit on
No,
vinyl.
it has to be tape, bro, because that's the tape era. That's what happened on tapes. The quality was,
Hell yeah.
you
No,
know,
tape
hit or
sounds
miss. and-
awesome, man. I love tape.
But so Nothing Is Harder to Stop Than a Man's Time Has Come to Pass is...
Damn, say that again. So, wait, say it again.
It's nothing is harder to stop than a man whose time has come to pass. So on Dell's I Wish My Brother George Was Here, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, his first
shit.
album, I Wish My Brother George Was Here.
I got that.
There's a part right before Mr. Dabalina, there's like the intro and all that.
Yeah.
And then there's a voice that says, nothing is harder to stop than a man whose time has come to pass. And since I think of that album as the seminal underground West Coast album,
yeah.
that's when like the West Coast became that
he wrote-
abstract, lyrical,
Yeah.
like style was Dell's
yeah.
I Wish My Brother George Was Here.
Shit, he wrote Rhymes for Ice Cube.
Well, yeah, Ice Cube's his cousin.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, he was on a Ice Cube imprint for that album. It was a Jive imprint.
Really?
So, anyways, as a homage to that idea that's like the definitive moment of West Coast hip hop, that's what I titled what was to be my first album,
Yeah.
my definitive album of the time.
Crazy.
So I just call it Nothing for short. But that's the more polished stuff. So that's the stuff. There's a couple of those songs that we recorded in the studio. I have a song on there with Slim Kid Trey from the Far Side that
shit.
that I had met through through Dylan. I met this other cat named Mean Hands, Chuck Prada. He's from San Diego area, but he played congas for the Black Eyed Peas. They had a band called the Beat Pharmacy that was their backup touring band for a while, and so he played congas for them. But he also produced and made tracks. And then working with him and with this engineer named Tyson Leeper, who I also met at Enterprise and was friends with Dylan and everybody. We're all friends. He was working with Slim Kid Trey. And so one day he had Slim Kid in the studio and was like, hey, listen to this. And Slim Kid liked it and was like, let me put something on it. And so he did. And then he called me like, is it cool? I'm like, is it cool? Why are you calling? You should be in there right now hitting the button.
Yeah, no shit.
So I have a song called Moral of the Story on there with him. And, you know, it's just a whole bunch of more polished songs, more like ready to go stuff. So same era, but different, you know, quality level. The songs are better written, I think. They're less raw, more refined. And those you could find on my Bandcamp right now. So, and so that period of time was when I got in the studio, a real professional studio, and it felt like I was like a real artist, like on a huge budget, even though we didn't have no budget. It felt like it. So that would be the defining moment. Who I would like to work with? I would say like really anybody that's dope, you know. I tried to do a song with 2Mex recently. but that fell through. He was supposed to do the second verse on that song for the cat from Finland. The song was going to be called One Long Tumek Song, because, you know, a lot of his songs are like heartbreak songs and stuff like that. So, and then I was going to have him do the second verse on that. And since most of his songs are about heartbreak and breaking up, or at least most of his songs that are about love are about heartbreak and breaking up, I was going to challenge him to do a verse that was like putting the pieces back together and moving on.
Yeah.
Which would have been different from what he usually does. And it would have been really cool. But scheduling issues occurred and we just didn't make it happen. So, you know, now I gotta, I gave him a $75 deposit, so we're either eventually gonna do a song somewhere down the line, or I'm gonna have to hit him up and ask him to send me $75 worth of merch. But Tumex is like super dope, man. I really give props to that cat. Let him tell it, and he's kind of moving away from the music and focusing more on, you know, this new career that he's got with the CBD and stuff like that. So
Did you ever fuck around with Good Life and Project Blood, man? I know you did.
So that was on the other side of town, and we weren't really welcome there. Like,
Really?
I went to Project Blood once, and I was battling some cat outside, and I was getting the best of him, and some fool like came in the cipher and like showed me a gun and was like, "Yeah," he was like, "You want to get out?"
Project
of
Blow
here.
is very
It's-
territorial.
Oh yeah, of course. I was there. I was actually at the
and
Good
it,
Life.
it
I've
was
been
me
to-
and the homie, and I looked at him, and I knew we both weren't strapped, and we were far from home, and he was my ride, and I didn't know if he was that down, anyways. So I was like, let's go. So we ghosted, and I never really went back. Then I did go back though when I worked for Burning Star. So Burning Star was this band that
shit.
came
I
up
love
under,
Burning
yeah,
Star.
they came up under the Black Eyed Peas. And I used to do promotion for them, so I would pass out flyers and I'd sell CDs for them and stuff like that.
Were they on Ruthless or Priority?
No, Black Eyed Peas at Band Clan was on Ruthless. They weren't actually on the label. Burning Star
Nah,
wasn't
because
on the
I know
label.
that Burning Star got signed and then they got dropped immediately.
Yeah, well, I'm not privy to that
Yeah.
situation, so I don't know exactly what happened with that. But they made an album, and they made that album because I knew their manager. He was the weed man at the time in the neighborhood, and he was the big homie. He was married to my homeboy Spanky from Highland Park's sister, so he was like the big homie. He would come around and he'd sell us weed, and you know, so he started managing this band, Burning Star, and he hit me up. He tapped me to do promotions for them, and then that's when I was working at the studio. And so my homie Randy, who was a runner at first, but he became the studio manager, I introduced them on weed business, and they ended up doing music business. And so they recorded their album at Enterprise. Now, the sucky part of that story is that nowhere on that album do I get a thank you or a shout out. And I'm like, this album would not have been possible if I didn't make this
engineers
connection.
Not
hardly
even a
do it,
fuck
man.
you.
Engineers and, you know,
But I mean, the thing is like they had thank yous for people that I never saw while we were out doing shows. They never came to no shows, didn't show up at the studio or nothing, and they're getting a shout out.
Fucking Mondo from Vaughn's.
And I'm like the dude that put y'all on that made it possible so y'all can make this world class studio album for free, basically. And I didn't even get a thanks to Darkside. Shout out to
Where was
Darkside.
that place that they used to play all the time? Was it the Temple Bar?
The Temple.
Oh yeah. I used to have carte blanche there, man. I knew the owners, Nettie and I can't remember the guy's name now, but
That was one of the great
it was a husband and wife.
Big time.
Yeah, it's not around anymore.
Yeah.
And then they had the Little Temple that's now the Virgil.
It's not the same.
Yeah, they kind of sold out their properties. That they were
Right there by.
they were about my age at
by
that
Lakma.
time.
The one by Lakma, right?
You remember when we
That-
saw?
yeah.
Not Lakma. Mocha.
We saw
Which
him with
one?
The temple.
The
bar.
Little Temple? The Little Temple was by Santa Monica and Virgil.
Yeah.
On Virgil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on Santa Monica.
Yeah, on the other one. Yeah, on the other side. Yeah.
The Temple
Damn,
Bar was
the
on
Temple Bar.
Wilshire, I think.
Yeah.
Down by Santa Monica, by the beach.
Yeah. I'm thinking about another spot because. Nah, so many clubs have closed, man. You know.
Yeah.
it's
that
a
was
lot
one of the
of
good
sad-
ones, though, man. I love the Temple Bar. It had
Yeah,
a good
the
sound,
Temple Bar
good
was a
vibe.
place you could go that always had good music.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't know who it was going to be a good night.
Right down the
So,
corner.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good part of my life. You know, I really enjoyed doing what I had to do with them and everything. They exposed me to a lot, and I got to meet a lot of people through them. But you know, they never put me on a song, and they didn't even give me a shout out on their album. But
So they need to
but it's
make
still
this
love.
right.
Yeah, it's still.
They need to make
peace.
this right, man.
I still talk to the homies. You know, the homie Yeshua works with Taboo still, and
Oh shit.
you know, I talk to him every now and then. And you know, I seen Quincy McQuarrie. He was like singing backup for like major
Well,
artists.
they were also like big time breakdancers, man. One of them, couple of them were big time breakdancers.
Well, that's the
They
Black
used to
Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
They were dancers.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
big time.
yeah, definitely. Will grew up in the projects
Yeah.
in Estrada Gardens or something like
My
that.
buddy knows.
Yeah,
He
so-
knew way back before they got big. They were
yeah,
big-time
like I mean, I
breakdancers.
used to know that. So they were called At Band Clan. Well, so first of all, as dancers, they were called Tribal Nation,
Yes.
and then they started At Band Clan, which was a tribe beyond a nation, and it was kind of like because they were breaking away from Tribal Nation and starting their own thing, and then they got signed to Ruthless, and then Mookie from Burning Star was
that's
was
right.
part of At Band Clan. I don't know exactly what happened, but they basically got themselves out of the Ruthless deal, and then signed with Interscope, I believe it was what they did their first album with.
There's a documentary called Dropped.
Yeah,
And it's about, artists being dropped from labels and Burning Stars on it. And they were talking about
I'm gonna
that.
have to look that up.
Yeah, it's a good documentary.
Shit.
Cool. Yeah,
Speaking about labels, not just labels, but basically like radio and everything that the politics of everything as far as hip hop is concerned. Like, did you ever want to be like in the radio, by any chance?
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have my stuff played on the radio. Probably more like the specialty shows, like Friday Night Flavors or the Wake Up Show or something.
Fuck yeah! Who didn't want to be in the fucking wake up show? Back
But
then?
it just didn't happen. Like I said, at that time when things were popping, I was stuck. And by the time I pulled myself out of it, that kind of had moved. It became different. It became a little different. So by the time I wised up, I was already, the boat had kind of sailed, but what I did is I did community stuff. So I do a lot of community shows. I started putting my own shows together and putting myself on.
That was your other side thing. That was your contribution to it. You didn't have to.
Yeah,
seriously be on there,
and and then I had a good homie that I went to high school with that was in a good position, and that fool gave me a $3,000 check to buy my first Pro Tools rig
Oh, wow.
in like '98, and I've been making music, out of my
Damn,
bedroom
that was
since.
the beginning of fucking
Yeah.
Pro Tools, dude.
Yeah, it was a
remember that.
Digi 01, the
Yeah,
001.
I remember that one.
Yeah, $3,000, and then
No shit.
so I bought this external hard drive. It was a 4 gig hard drive that I spent $200 on. Now you can get 4 gigs on.
You're
thumb
talking
drive
about that
for
little
$10.
tower, or the little tower?
No,
right?
it was a rack mount.
It was a rack
Yeah.
mount. Because I remember I seen the little. Remember that they had the little tower for a while.
Yeah, they had those, the glyph drives. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
I had a Cubase with a bunch of zip drives, dude.
yeah, man.
Didn't you have a jazz drive?
Yeah, I had a
Oh
jazz
my
drive.
God.
yeah,
You
that's
had a jazz drive.
Wow.
classic.
Dude, a whole half gig, dude.
Wow, I still got zip drives actually.
You still
I
got
got
everything.
zip discs. I got one left for my whole album that I did on the zip drive.
Word.
Zip disc.
Yeah, man. So I mean, as far as artists that I'd like to work with, I'm down to work with anybody that's dope. Like, send me something, and if I like it, I'll get on it straight up. And I mean, maybe like if I had like like a one wish, who would I want to do a song with? God, that's a tough one. I think I might like to do something with like LP from Company Flow.
Oh shit.
I like his production style and his rap style, and I think that we could, kind of like how him and Killer Mike work out with Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
They're kind of two different styles, but they come together and it sounds really dope.
Shadow got with them. Shadow
yeah.
got a little opportunity to do shit with them.
No
That was
doubt.
a pretty good album actually.
So yeah, I mean, that's cats like that. If I had to go with a big name, I'd like to do I'd love to get on like a Kendrick Lamar song, J. Cole. Those are like new kids that are doing it that I would really be down to work with, given that opportunity. So it's high hopes. We got them all out in the sky.
What about putting out an album or a project with just you and no collaborators? Is that something that in the works, or do you feel comfortable working with people more than just having your...
it's I wouldn't mind doing it. So it's something in the works. Let's go there. So part of the Hardw3rk Microphone Collective, I talked about my homie Omnivorous or Omnivirus. I like Omnivirus better. So we're doing a project, and I think we're gonna call it like Dark Virus or something like that, because Omnicide just doesn't sound as good as Dark Virus does.
Yeah.
And so it's called Creative Writing, and it's all creative. It's all narrative stories. So it's a whole collection of stories, and they all intertwine. And there's a hub song that has like where I mention all the characters from the other songs and stuff. And so the only features on that album is that I'm doing a song about a battle, and so I'm trying to orchestrate this song that has 5 players. So it has the 2 cornermen, the 2 battlers, and then like a narrator / referee. And so I'm gonna try to put together those 4 other MCs, find 4 producers to produce the different parts, and make this like production. And so that's going to be the only song that has any features on it. And I might not even feature anybody. I might do it all myself and just pitch change the voices and put them through effects and make them sound different. So I don't know. Ideally, it would be something where, you know, I get together with 4 other MCs and we write it, we record it and stuff like that. But if it comes down to it, I might just write it all myself and just, like I said, do it all myself and just pitch change the voices.
What do you, as far as like the whole, like lately, the whole question always comes up to everybody as far as the hip hop game is concerned. Like, a lot of changes have happened, you know, musically, hip hop, actually every genre.
Right.
Every genre, a lot of but how do you feel like about the whole, how this whole, the new hip hop is out in the mainstream, man? Do you have any feelings about it, man?
So I have a 13-year-old son, and you know, basically we had a conversation not too long ago, and you know, I was like, man, what do you guys like about this music? Because he likes a lot of the music that I don't like, that I think is garbage. And he goes, to tell you the truth, Dad, he's like, well, we were talking about 6ix9ine, right?
Oh shit.
So I was like, I'm like, what the fuck is the whole draw of this guy? And he's like, he's trolling. He's a troll, and I like trolls. Trolling's cool. It's fun.
What's trolling?
So trolling is like on the internet. It's an internet kind of thing.
It's like instigating.
Yeah, like just being a fool, like just trying to get the best of you, make you mad, piss you off, do stupid stuff. that's gonna
Basically
make you
playing
like,
devil's advocate.
in a sense, you could say, yeah. It's just doing the most, you know what I mean? Doing the most to like trying to shock you, trying to make you feel a certain way, you know, that's not good, basically. So he's like, yeah, he's just basically trolling everybody. Like he's not good, and he don't, you know, we know he's not good, but. And so I go, but what do you like about it? He goes, that you don't like it. He's like, that the old heads don't like it. That's why we like it, because it's our music. It's
a rebellion.
For us.
Is it a rebellion kind of movement?
It kind of. And so
sense.
I was like, wait a second. That's what hip hop is.
Yeah.
That's why we did hip hop. It wasn't our daddy's music. And that's what rock and roll is. That's what punk rock is.
Wow.
You know? And I was like, wow, that's crazy. So that's the way they're rebelling. And just like, you know, rock and rollers at the time looked at punk rock like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This is garbage. Shut up. You're
shower. Ruining
music. Yeah. You know, but now we look at it like, wow, it's some groundbreaking, monumental music, you know? So I can't be mad at them, right? I also had a conversation with one of my students, and like, well, I was having a conversation with a couple students about, like, they asked me, what do I listen to? What do I like, right? If I like any new rappers. So I told them I like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar and Anderson .Paak and a couple people. And so then they started saying like, oh, what about this guy? What about that guy? What about 6ix9ine? What about, you know, Lil Yachty, this and that? And I'm like, oh yeah, you know, they're garbage, this and that. The Migos, I can't stand them. I want to hear a Migos album where it's just the ad-libs. I think they should take out their verses and just have the ad-libs, because the ad-libs are so fucking funny and cool that I would listen to an album with just their ad-libs, bro. It's so hilarious. But anyways, so this kid that really doesn't, you know, he doesn't talk much, he doesn't do much. He goes, the problem is, mister, he got him engaged in this conversation. So I was like, dope, finally engaging with this kid. He's like, the problem is you're listening to it with your golden era 90s ears. He's like, you're listening for the lyricism. You're listening for like the music. He goes, you're listening for how the words, for what the words are saying. Yeah. He goes, you're not listening for the music in the words. And I was like, well, yeah, I kind of do. He goes, but this new era, it's not about what they're saying. It's how the music, how the words sound. He goes, so to you, you're like, it's a bunch of nonsense, or it's a bunch of like basic stuff that they're saying, or they're being repetitive. Yeah. He goes, but if you listen to it for how it sounds, not what they're saying, but how what they're saying sounds, that's what we listen. That's how we listen to music.
So the melodic voices is what they're listening
to.
Not the content, is the melodic voice.
Yeah, it's new school bebop.
Yeah, wow. It's the sound of the
You know
voices.
what? Fuck, you just fucking touched on it. I was about to say that bebop music and jazz was like, fuck you. And when they actually came out, nobody liked it.
Yep.
At that moment.
Yep.
I always compared new rap to bebop, because I know it's not the same. But the thought of it was, back then they weren't really accepted. They were like the impressionists in the art history movement.
Right.
You know, they were like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? This isn't real art.
Yeah.
And in jazz, bebop was that. But eventually it became the best, you know, some good shit.
Yeah.
Can I chime in on this?
Oh shit. Uh-oh.
No, because I mean, Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, and you know, Paul Chambers. They were like the bebop gods,
of
dude.
course. But when it first came out, they didn't like it though.
Yeah, I mean,
historically, jazz speaking, they really weren't
every
and then
genre
it became
of
big.
every type of music. The predecessors always, you know, just ostracized it. When classical went to jazz, you know, and jazz went to blues, blues went to rock, rock went to metal. Yeah. It's all been ostracized. Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I guess the way we listen to it, because we're all 90s people, we're all in our 40s here, and we have to accept and embrace the new hip hop for what it is. Yeah. Even if we think it's garbage, or you know, you have a heavy opinion on it because you're a purist of your generation, and this is something new, and I respect it to the sense that it's not following the status quo of what it was. You know, that it is trying to be something new. Right. Regardless that it obviously most of these people don't have any talent, but they said that about my punk rock. They said that about your hip hop. They said that about his whatever he listens to.
We're talking about Rick.
Spanish bird music.
Spanish bird music.
So yeah, and I have a song. And maybe we'll play that next. It's called "Almost Late," and I have a line where I say, "My father used to say it all sounds the same. Nowadays, I find myself saying the same thing." Yeah. And it's kind of like me admitting that idea.
What's the name of the song?
That things happening. So it's called "Almost Late." It's off a project that I'm working on, another Hardw3rk Microphone Collective project with my brother Terrible Calm. He produced most of the beats. I'd say 90% of the beats, and he also raps on the songs with me. And so we come together. We call ourselves Terrible Side, and the album's called "The Calm Before the Dark," because if you put Terrible Calm before the dark side. And it's a play on the calm before the storm.
Oh yeah, dude. Let's hear it.
So yeah, the song's called "Almost Late." The beat's written by Terrible Calm. He wrote the chorus, and so yeah, he has the first verse. I have the second verse, and it's one of my favorite songs in general of the stuff that I've done lately, and it's some of my best writing in that verse.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's hear it.
Perfect.
They say that time waits for no man. The clock clicks from the small hand. On the elder side of ages and mistakes, but like a road man. Creator of the program, a regal mental state. Set up, I won't bow down to no man. Prefer to crash the gate, I'll beat the west, stuck in the door jam. These times of which we live in, we stand against the wind, off and alone just like an island. Together like skin and sand, we rise above the turbulence, no matter how it began. Cause resolution resonates. I'm riding clouds of California to help me meditate. I levitate a future child, so there's no need to segregate. I cultivate this very landscape around me fascinates. Plucking jewels from the earth, my rhetoric can devastate. The beat is like a cosmic force of lights in which we gravitate. To stoke a fire hotter than the sun could even generate. I go against the grain, so now I feel no need to assimilate. Just leave it in prints, no carbon copy could imitate. 5 minutes to go, barely made it through the door. We were almost late, traffic can't be understated. Aren't you glad we made it, now we're back in control. And like your show sounds great, still kicking it raw, better than ever before. Sound tearing down walls with sounds I can't explain. The rain of terror we bring, the rally of true MCs, moving the crowd with ease, but we were almost late.
I can't contemplate life without a mic and a stage. A pen and a page for some friends. It was a phase, a trend, or a fad. Plus my dad said it all sounds the same. Nowadays I find myself saying the same thing. With age comes wisdom, but like winds come, the game change. Pay to play, build a bill filled with a bunch of locals. 20 people on stage, all rapping over their vocals. Show up right before they set the jet. Once they done, that's why I shine like the sun. When I spit to hit you deep down inside with my poetic scripture to uplift you, get you motivated to set the pace at which you run the race. No trace of fear in my eyes as time stops, space expand. When it's microphones I command, skills displayed, foundation laid for the series of days that lie ahead. Get out of bed, face a day with these melodies in your head. Take dread, mold them into motivation, inspiration and hope. Take each note and make a rope to escape, forge your future, tempt fate. No one's exempt from death state, and that's fine. I'm always on time even if I'm late.
5 minutes to go, barely made it through the door. We were almost late, traffic can't be understated. Aren't got you glad we made it out, we're back in control. And like your show sounds great, still kicking it raw, better than ever before. Sound tearing down walls with sounds I can't explain. The rain of terror we bring, the rally of true MCs, moving the crowd with ease, but we were almost late.
Sorry, Mom, but I used to steal her fucking Tiras del Norte bootleg tapes, Perros del Norte and all that shit, and record over everything. I got at least 20 radio tapes.
Oh, fuck.
Wake Up Show, KXLU, KCRW, 89.9 shit, dude. A lot of fucking recordings, dude. And it says Bravos del Norte. It's like, you know, like, what the fuck?
Well, that's how you'll get your friends not to steal your shit, too, dude.
Yeah, I have them
like,
very
Angel used
tucked
to
away.
steal-
I haven't tucked away, man. So these haven't seen the light of day like in 10 years.
Angel used to steal all my fucking tapes, dude.
Dude, Angel had all my CDs, all my tapes, all my shirts, and my sweaters.
Dude,
I think I gave him a couple sweaters too.
dude, I didn't know for a long time that I know Angel was stealing my fucking tapes, right? So then one day I see this fucking picture going around, and it's Angel's house, and in the back you see all these fucking tapes, dude. So like all my hardcore tapes, all the Sick of It All stuff I had was on there. Like, motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking Leva.
Arlington Park was a shit. It's still
Find
the
all your
shit.
I hated that. I had some video games come up missing, and then then you know I go to the homie's crib and they're there.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
You guys went to your
And I knew
place.
they were mine because they had the little JLA.
Yep, you
Dude,
put something on it. Yep.
Speaking about that, my cousin, about 5, maybe 7 years ago, he used to, before this time, back in like in the 90s, he used to come on my pad and steal a lot of my tapes and take them back to the Imperial Valley. He used to live in Brawley. He used to come over and visit, you know, kick back with us, whatever. And he used to steal my shit and go back to his hood and play them all. And he introduced a lot of people to West Coast hip hop over there in that area because of all my stolen shit. And I didn't see this, which I was mad, but at the same time I was fucking happy because I'm like, fuck, dude, these kids heard of NWA, Ice Cube, Ice-T, all these West Coast shit.
Think about it this way: you probably saved those kids from listening to country music.
I think I did.
Right.
But see, I didn't find this shit out till years later, man. He's like, dude, we used to go to your pad and just steal shit.
It's a
Like,
bunch of
what?
guys-
Are
a
you
bunch of
serious?
guys named Boggle out there.
Dude, no, I actually influenced my cousin as a graffiti writer too, because he came over my pad and I took him out, you know, tagging when he was a kid. He was like 14, 13, dude. Actually younger. He went back to his pad and tagged the fuck out of his whole city.
Yeah.
And he became an artist. Like, he actually got a scholarship to go to fucking art school.
Oh, wow.
Dude. And he stole my piece books.
Yeah.
He stole my piece books and tapes.
So he's like Boggle 75.
74 3/4.
Yeah, it fucked me up, man. But I was happy, and I was like, you know what? I influenced like 30 motherfuckers over there in the Imperial Valley. So what's up, Imperial Valley? Shout out to all of you motherfuckers out there.
So Darkside,
Yes, sir.
what's in the works? What's the future holds for you?
Oh man, so you know, like I said, I got those projects that are bubbling up. I also got a project, another Hardw3rk Microphone Collective project with the homie Alpaca. We're calling it Llama-Side, Beast That Spit.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, there's a theme here. Like, I put my name in just about everything that I do in that way. Whenever I collab with somebody, I try to find a way to put it together.
Kind of like the Mad Lib thing.
Yeah, and so we're putting that together, and that's something that once we're done with it, we're thinking of putting that out on cassette through insert tapes, if we get the opportunity to do so. He's like a glitch hop kind of guy. His stuff is real glitchy. It's kind of a new genre. It's like lo-fi, really glitchy stuff. They use the SP202, I believe it is. It has like this like whammy thing that makes it skip and stutter. Yeah,
Really?
It's cool stuff. So we put that together. That's on the rise there. I told you about creative writing. We're still working on that. The issue is just technical issues there. The homie's like, he lost his computer, got stolen once, and then this I gave him some money and bought a computer, and then that took a shit, and he fried the hard drive on that, so lost more music.
Dude, those horror stories.
And yeah, that's just been like that. So there's this project that I have, an old project called the Dark Project, and it's the first project that I worked with one producer for the whole project, and his name was L-Rox. Red Sector, I think it's redsector.com. he does like mastering and engineering now. So if you're looking for services, you can always hit up the homie Louis Franco. He's on IG. He's on my IG. I believe it's Louis Franco. And so anyways, he produced this album, and something similar happened, right? Where I had a vision for it, and we were putting it together, and then his hard drive fried. And so we lost a lot of stuff. And so, you know, I've never really been able to put that project together because I had a vision and it's not there. But part of me wants to just say, you know what, fuck it, and just put out what we have, because it is good stuff. It's really good for the period that it was written into. So that's something that I'm probably going to put together, just some graphics. You know, you talk about graphic design, maybe we could work together on that and make the thumbnail for that, the cover. I have a concept and everything. I just need somebody to actually actualize it for me.
Fried hard drive.
Yeah.
A burnt.
It has to do with stick figures and throw up graffiti letters. You know?
Nice.
Like not bombs, but just little basic bubble graffiti letters.
Nice.
That's called Kick Down, Kick In, or Kick Rocks. The Dark Rocks project. That's we have a video. I shot a video. I had what I like to call my pre-midlife crisis. Around the time I told you about the situation with my daughter and my kid's mom and whatnot. They you know how they send you that thing that says it's a check. And then it's like, if you cash this, you're accepting the agreement of this loan and whatnot. So it's $5,000. And I was like, I had been talking to my homies about shooting a video. And I was like, man, how much do you think it cost? Oh, we could do it for like 5 G's. And then I got this check for 5 G's. I was like, it's a sign. So I cashed it and I went and I shot this video for $5,000. And
Still
that
paying
song's
it
called Solo Soldier. So if you go to YouTube and you search Dark Rocks, DARKROX, Solo Soldier should pop up, and that's my video, my one music video.
Who directs it, man?
That was directed, well, it was put together by a group called, I think they were calling themselves Lift at the time, but it's my homie Mike Zafra, DJ Kuya is what I know him as. He used to spin records and stuff, and then this cat named Benham, and I'm probably going to ruin his last name, but it's like Karabasi, I believe. They both do stuff in the industry. They're really ingrained in the industry now. But I caught them at a time where they were kind of trying to make their bones and stuff. So basically, the bulk of that money went to a cameraman, and he brought his own camera. So we didn't have to rent the camera. We just paid the cameraman. So we saved ourselves thousands of dollars just by doing that. And so, yeah, we shot this video, you know, like it had to be like 2004, 2003-ish. And I still play it every year for my students. You know, they don't believe me. I rap, so I play it for them. First couple days of school, yeah. And, you know, they're all like, oh, that's dope. And then I have my, like, SoundCloud and Spotify all up on the board and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Except when
Get them while they're young, you know.
when I know people from the district are coming, then I erase it real quick. I put standards up instead. And then once they're gone, I just put it back up. So
One night rapping class.
yeah, so that's something I'm going to work on. You know, I want to get that put out on my Bandcamp, make it available for people. Most of the stuff on Bandcamp, by the way, is pay what you want. So you could put 0 and get it for free if you're that kind of person. If you're not, you could put $1. If you really like it, you could put $10, $100, $1,000. If you put $1,000 though, I'm gonna do a whole album for you, and the title will be Dark whatever your name is. But
It won't be Dark Chris.
But so yeah, like 4 out of the 6 projects up there are pay what you want. So you could, you know, anybody can download those basically for free.
So you're gonna have to put down there the dartboard or whatever it's called now.
I know, right?
What are they called now? Dry erase board?
Yeah.
Put La Clika podcast from HP.
There you go. There you go.
From 2 blocks away.
So yeah, so we got that. You know, that's something I'm working on. I got a project that I'm accepting beats from people and just working on stuff. A lot of these projects they're wrapping up. So right now, other than getting those projects released, as far as new music is concerned, there's not much at this point. The latest thing that I did, well, other than that Smashing Time that I talked about earlier, was after the last like major, school shooting, we did a song called Trigger Alert, me and Terrible Calm. We basically took a Black Sabbath sample from Hannah Doom, and we just looped it and added some more drums to it and stuff. And I did a verse about gun violence. You know, we thought it was real timely and stuff like that. So we put that's on the SoundCloud. If you go to my SoundCloud, it's soundcloud.com/darkside90042. I also have a Music is Free record SoundCloud. That one just has like one song from each of the projects that are on the Bandcamp. So that's like a way to funnel people from SoundCloud to the Bandcamp to either download or purchase music there.
Yeah,
So
And all the links will be in the bottom of the description.
definitely. So yeah, so that was the latest thing I worked on. I'm working on a song right now with the homie Hardw3rk. The homie Omniverse just sent me a pack of beats, or actually I'm waiting for him to send it to me. I went over and picked some a couple days ago. So if you're listening, Omniverse, send me those beats. And so, you know, right now I'm just kind of, I'm picking up the pieces from this last, you know, breakup, and it's been really hard because it kind of financially ruined me, and that's tough, is just making it through each day money wise, like worrying about, am I going to pay these bills? Do I got to file bankruptcy? Do I have to do a debt consolidation? Do I have to do debt relief?
Don't
Whatever.
do that.
So
That's the worst thing you can do.
I mean, I'm gonna do what I have to do. So, you know,
We're selling P-Dogs again.
yeah, no, we're not going back there. So that's what I'm
Put it
focusing
on a
on.
dry erase board.
Yeah.
That's in Schneeberg.
So that's what I'm focusing on right now, is just kind of getting my legs under me again and trying to get back to where I was before I took the leap again, and hoping that when I get back there, I don't take the leap again. You know, working on myself, trying to be a better person. You know, I'm single, but I'm not actively dating right now because I'm still just trying to find myself. The beard, the long hair, that's me in transition. So like when things get different, when things are a little different, I'll probably cut the hair first and then have the beard just because it's cool. And then once I'm in a really good place, I'll go back to my normal self, which is usually more clean.
See,
Not clean shaven, but close.
Well, look,
the
the very
best,
first
the best look
trip out
around
though,
right now is
he
bald
didn't.
heads.
He didn't have that. When we first started, he didn't have that beard.
Yeah.
Rick did not have a beard.
Not at
He
all.
Well, this is only summer growth, bro. This is summer growth right here. I started growing it like in March.
This
when
is
I left my
this is
kids
a
home.
whole year and a half now.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, seriously, it is.
A little trim.
So yeah, I mean, like, as far as new music is concerned, I'm just working on whatever comes. I got a song that a friend of mine from El Paso, Texas, named APSS, from the Space Captains Collective. He came out here and spent a weekend, and so of course I picked him up from like Hollywood, almost like a prostitute on the corner of like Vine and Hollywood Boulevard. I felt kind of weird, like, bro, maybe we should go like 2 blocks down. Anyways, so I picked this
The
dude
alley
up.
behind the fucking Yum Yums.
You're saying too much there because I know what Yum Yums you're talking about, and I'm ashamed to admit it. But so anyways, this cat came out and we did a song on my homeboy Creeper One. Creeper One actually is the guy who runs the Juice MC and producer workshops.
Nice.
And so he produced the beat. I got a couple songs that I'm working on with Creeper. But so this one we did put together, it's called Acid Rain. Shout out to the homies from Acid Rain. Gaja and Beyond and Olmeca and all them.
Nice.
Gaja has a new project out with
really?
Mute Speaker. Yeah, I heard it's pretty dope, so you check that out. Anyways, you know, so just little one-offs here and there is really what I got going on while I'm, you know, getting these other albums ready for, you know, to push out. And yeah, just, you know, just trying to keep busy. Trying to stay busy.
Damn, dude, you are. That sounds like you're really busy, man.
Yeah,
You're
I try to. I mean, I do things like podcasts. I do the
Yeah,
spoken
dude.
word, open mic stuff. You could catch me at Alivio tomorrow out in Bell. I'm gonna be at their spot. I'm also represent an organization called Artists United to End Homelessness. So that's my cause right now, is homelessness, because I think it's the cause that if we can solve homelessness, then everything else can be solved as well. And because the reality is that nobody's guaranteed a home until everybody's guaranteed a home. Capitalism needs homelessness, though, to point to and say, if you don't do what we say, if you don't toe our line, if you don't follow our rules, that's going to be you. And like I said, just like I treat all my students like people, they're people too. Whatever got them there, whatever reason they're there, they are people too, and they do deserve to have their basic rights, their basic needs met. We have the means of production and the resources for every person who's alive right now's needs to be met 3 times over. That means we all can have 3 times food, clothing, and shelter that we need. But because of capitalism, because of the way capitalism has been rolled out, especially recently as it's developed, you know, you have people who have 100 times what they need, and then you have people who have negative 100 times.
Not to change the the whole face of the podcast and what we're all about, but just chiming in on this. I mean, it has a lot to do with how we treat our mentally ill,
definitely,
citizens.
definitely.
They don't have the right resources anymore to facilitate their wellness. Definitely.
So that's one of the things that we talk about, right? Is mental health and wellness and resources. And so, so first of all, the statistic shows that there's something like 18 million homes that are vacant right now. And there's only like, I think it's 13 million homeless or 12 million homeless people. So that means every homeless person could be put in a home, and there's still tens of millions of homes for sale on the market. Not only that, but we have properties that are owned by the government, or properties that are sitting there and just as tax write-offs for companies, corporations. That, for example, there's like old industrial parks that don't have anything in them anymore. They're like, they have huge warehouses in the back and offices in the front, whatever. They've taken over by eminent domain just to build a park somewhere or to build a Target or something. They could take those properties over and give people who need jobs to build out and make housing that has those resources, that have wraparound services, and fund it. But there's no funding for that, and that's a problem. It's all about money. So what we're trying to do is just like with the Vietnam War, how music kind of led the revolution, led the social movements. The music business has kind of taken that out, and now it tokenizes, socially conscious music, right? It makes it a token. So you get like Logic's song about suicide, which is great. We want to prevent suicide as well, but it's one song and out of like his whole catalog that's about things that have nothing to do with preventing suicide. So it's tokenized, right? Like Too Short, one thing I always loved about Too Short is that every album he did, he had at least one conscious record on there, one conscious song.
I grew up on Too Short, man.
Now, Too Short could not make a whole record off of conscious music, but he always made sure to put one conscious song on every album. Yeah, definitely. Life is Too Short. I mean, there's every album has a conscious song on it. So we're kind of trying to put music back in the movement, and not only music, but just art in general, right? There's millions of artists out there, right? And of those millions of artists, a lot of them are probably concerned with homelessness in one way or another.
Because that's the one for sure way to reach people is through art.
Through art,
music.
definitely, always through any type of art, but music especially. So, and then if we think of the homeless population, a lot of them are talented and have their artists. I mean, look at Santana's, what was he, bass player or something?
The drummer.
Yeah. Oh, the drummer?
Yeah, the drummer.
Yeah, he was homeless. They just reconnected with him, There's the example of the white man that was, he would play the piano on the boardwalk somewhere, and they somebody found him, cleaned him up, and now he's doing great. But he had just had this issue that put him on the streets that he wasn't able to get out of, but give him a helping hand, and now he's doing well, So these are little examples that if we just did that on a larger scale, it would be better. The world can be a better place, right? So that's my cause. That's my movement right now, is trying to end homelessness. And that's the key word. We're not trying to fix it. We're not talking about feeding the homeless or giving clothes, which is good. I'm not saying don't do that. But if you give a homeless man a sandwich one day, he still doesn't have a home, right? So we want to house the homeless. We want to end homelessness. And that's going to take a major cultural shift and a major societal, governmental shift. But you got to start somewhere. So we're starting with art, with poetry, with the word, with music. And so I go out and I'll be wearing my Artists United End Homelessness shirt. Whenever you see me wearing that, I'm probably going to do my poem about homelessness, or I'm going to talk about homelessness, somewhere down the line. So that's another thing that I do. I also represent an organization called the Hip Hop Congress. They're basically beta testing a platform right now that's kind of like Facebook, but for artists. And so it'll be a way for independent artists to join. For example, I donated $100 to their campaign to start building this thing. So I have a lifetime membership. And so once it gets off the ground, I'm going to build a page on their website. And so people can find me to do shows if they want to bring me out to their community, their college, whatever. And, we just do like socially conscious projects in the community. We start out as a college-based system, but we've grown and now we're community and college-based. So check out hiphopcongress.com. They got good stuff on there. And we still have the campaign. So if you want to join, you could donate to the GoFundMe and you get free music. And like I said, if you donate $100 or more, you get two playlist of 25 songs each, as well as the lifetime membership to the social networking platform.
That's freaking awesome.
Upload a podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. When I have my site up, all of my archives are going to be up there.
Nice.
You're a busy man.
So,
dude.
so
very busy, man. I'm overwhelmed here listening to you.
Last
man.
but
Like,
not
wow.
least, as far as projects are concerned, I have a project with another teacher friend of mine named Tohil. And we've been working on it for a long time. It's called Poet Kings. And so we have one song left to do. There's like one verse on one song. So I'm just waiting for the homie to put that in, and then we're going to release that. And so the song that we're going to play to go out is a song called Sometimes, featuring myself, Tohil, and my homeboy Oblivious. And it's a real down-tempo, mellow song, really introspective. And so let's play it.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you for coming down. I'm Rick.
I'm Chris.
I'm Bago.
And I'm Darkside 90042. Google me.
Oh, yeah. La Clika Podcast.
Peace.
Signing off.
Late.
Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. High hater, I stay high like skyscrapers. Competition, I annihilate, y'all slither like snakes. I had to do a little wrong to be right. Too bad my mother don't think that way, it's my life. I go on my own pace, it's not a race to me. Don't even get me started what I think about today's hip-hop. I'ma hit you with my own audio therapy. I make music and smoke the shit to keep my eye color bloodshot. Fuck cops, some say I'm an alcoholic. Fuck it, I just get the party started. I just departed from LAX, destination JFK. I'm a negative person, fuck it, I just live my life that way. My own pops did me dirty, so my attitude colorless. Y'all better forfeit. My words paint a portrait, nothing but that raw in my audio vision. Your little head can't comprehend. Fuck everybody, ain't too scared to be alone. I flip words like Vanna White every time I grab the mic and you spit the wackest rhyme. Smoke weed, write rap just to pass time till I flatline. Fuck the media, fuck politics, and fuck you too. Cut them loose if they don't benefit you. Cut them loose if they don't benefit you. Cut them loose if they don't benefit you. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day.
Wake up, choke up, let the smoke bless the world up. As the 40 blows the curve up, cause the grass is greener on the other side. But the brethren don't know how to really ride. I'm always fiending for a piece of the pie, but I really don't know what lies inside. Try to do good, but the evil still resides. Say your soul out just to feed the lies. I feel the love, but faith I despise. The sun will rise, I realize wishes will defy, but destiny eludes me with the hands of time. Us in the clouds as the days go by, like the sun I rise into my family's eyes. I have to lead them to a better life. My shoulder bears the weight of eternal life. Through the iris, feel the pain inside. I fear not God, but my mother's eyes. There is no other judgment in her look at lies. I have no hope, but my dreams survive. Blood and bones feed my soul. For them I cry, for them I cry.
Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day. Sometimes I wish that today could be another day. And when that day comes, I'm hoping for a brighter day.
These dark days keep me trapped in a maze. Eyes glazed through the haze. I run the pen across the page. It's just a phase, just my gaze, bust in a maze. All these unfamiliar faces, found in familiar places. All those spaces infinite. It's a small world, but still I get lost in my mind too often. Trying to leave a handsome corpse in a beautiful coffin. Dropping to the depths of despair. Ain't nothing there. Letting out a silent scream, then wondering why nobody cares. Life isn't fair, but there's truth in it. Plus if living was easy, everybody be doing it. Shooting the gift feels more like a curse. Gotta watch myself when I say it couldn't get worse, cause it does. Thinking of those I love first, and how I'm not measuring up just to patch all the hurt in my life. But a soldier's never credited for what he survived, and an artist's value increases when he dies. Trying to see through the lies and find life's silver lining. Only feel whole when I'm behind the mic rhyming. So now y'all know why I stay locked in the booth, and why your dreamer ain't someone who stopped in his youth. I'm thinking about the future and how what I do today impacts my children so they can have a brighter day.